Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the VALORANT Oceania Tour for 2021. We are ready to get started into day two, the quarterfinals, the second part of them, another elimination day to be seen here. Today, though, a different face on the broadcast. You're still stuck with me, but we've got the birthday boomer in Mitch here, guys. Mate, happy birthday, brother.
Thank you, my man. It's been a really nice day. I've got to admit, I'm super humbled of how many good people I know, and thank you to everyone who has reached out and said happy birthday. So worked the morning, had lunch with mum, and now we're here doing my favorite thing, casting some Valorant alongside the big man Komodo. So can't wait to get into it, man.
Man, last night's games were a bit of a big one. Maybe the upset could have been seen in that first one onto Order, but we can deep dive a little bit into that later on when we build ourselves up into the highlights segment. But of course, as the usual get off on the start of the broadcast, we got to throw you guys in with a little bit of that information on what we're going to be seeing tonight. So for these teams, what are they going to be actually fighting for throughout this weekend? Well, if they won yesterday or they win today, they take home a little bit of extra money.
Exactly right. Look, it's certainly not something to laugh at. 4,000 for first, 3,000 for second, 2,000 for third, and obviously 1,000 for fourth. It's always cool to see in these kind of competitions that, obviously there's extra things to play for, which is what we'll be getting to. But the money on the side is always a nice little bonus.
Money on the side is always welcome with open arms. And of course, speaking about the money in the matches, the miracle matches is where we are. We want to see those miracles come through. We want to see those heightened plays come on. And yesterday, we had some massive individual performances. We had some huge dynamic team plays. And I mean, hey, for Powerstrike to push Order onto overtime for map number one, that was amazing.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. I remember seeing a little bit of a commentary for you. Maybe Powerstrike should have actually been the team winning, which is kind of exciting to see. Order sort of, aside from God Squad, really set themselves up towards that top of the region, sitting nicely and really being one of the teams you have to contest. But to be forced to this position, maybe you start to wonder, are they going to be the team that's just sort of easily sitting at the top, or are the challengers really starting to move in? And I think that's exactly what's starting to happen in the region.
And it's one of those interesting things on the God Squad or the EXO situation now, isn't it? They had to pull out of this tournament, which would shed a little bit of light onto Order and to Wildcard, further down the line. Direwolves, Fun Crew, Mind Freak, stuff like that, to give them, I wouldn't say an easier run, but a more chance at getting toward that top spot in this to take home some more of those points. Because remember, it isn't like a straight qualification to come through from the tail end of this system this weekend. It's actually points that they will accumulate over the different stages to get that spot to go international.
Exactly right, and that's the cool thing, that gives you that extra opportunity. If you have a bit of a rough qualifier, maybe swap up the roster a little bit, add in a member, lose a member, it's not going to break you. There is still those further opportunities. You've worked so hard in the open qualifiers to be able to find yourself this position, and with the top 8, obviously even the fact that God Squad has gone away, they've obviously gone over to bigger opportunities in A&A shortly, which is, I guess, only gives that extra opportunity to the other teams that are really fighting for that spot. So that's what we see now. Order and Wildcard obviously really starting to push it. But, Direwolves, Fun Crew, Mind Freak, they've been really exciting me. And even obviously, after Powerstrike and Kanga also puts in some work, it means that there's no one clear winner anymore. It's all relatively, middle of the pack, which is great to see.
Yeah, the middle of the pack games really make it more interesting and kind of add a little bit of uncertainty onto what outcome could be coming on through. But the hard evidence that we do see here, Mitch, so far is that Kanga and Powerstrike have been eliminated from this bracketing system so far, this top 8 finals. So they have taken home 30 points to go towards their point accumulation in this whole stint of the stage for us in this tour. And on the back of this, you've got all these other teams that are still fighting within this bracket system.
And there it is. So that is what we will be witnessing, of course, this evening. Wildcard versus Straight Out of the Zoo. We'll be getting into that one shortly. Very exciting for me because I don't actually know a whole lot about Straight Out of the Zoo. Wildcard, plenty of familiar faces for me, but, I've seen the Yifang memes on Twitter, which is, makes it kind of an exciting game to come up. Then on the other back end, we do have Direwolves versus Mind Freak. A very, a game that I'm sure a lot of us will be ready for and familiar with. So that makes it also very cool for a competition like this. So the bracket's looking good right now. Obviously, Order and Fun Crew, that's going to be tomorrow. That's an excellent game that's coming down the bracket as well, which I think is Pilsky and Digital QF, isn't it? That's cool to see that we got Digital on the realms as well.
Yeah, so spicing it up a little bit more tomorrow to have those, not elimination games, but it is knocking them down to get those lesser points or to get into that grand final for the Sunday, to get more points in that, to take home a little bit of the extra money as well. But, while we start to mosey on through the system, you can see in this lower third what we're going to be seeing tonight at the relative times. So we've got Wildcard straight out of the zoo first, then we'll have Direwolves Mind Freak. It's not going to be that hard start like it was yesterday with that extended 45-minute breaks. As far as we're aware so far, it will be the rolling schedule, so a 5 to 10 minute intermission in the between of the matches, but we should have it all flowing. And I mean, if I'm putting it on paper right now, I'm thinking that these games could go the distance rather, if straight out of the zoo have something a little bit out of the ordinary to show to Wildcard in the first map or two.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's one of the things you think about with Wildcard. They should be the victor here, right? The one they've really stacked the deck. Obviously, big memes there, but maybe straight out of the zoo will throw them off. They'll come out with something as you mentioned, that might be something that's not really been seen. I do know that they've obviously got quite a diverse roster. I already know who is playing tonight. We'll get to that shortly. But yeah, then the other side of Direwolves versus Mind Freak, that's the map where I think, or the match where I think rather, we really should be seeing that 3 maps, which is in a competition like this, that's what we've got to see, right? We can't be having these one-sided sort of 2-0 affairs. We need to see that all 8 of these teams can contest with each other.
And it hasn't been like the complete 2-0 to come through in yesterday's matches either, right? The second one had that 2-1. The first one, it went into overtime in map number 1. So it was really close. It was really, I think, pressuring on towards Order, especially in that first one. They kind of balanced it out going into the later stage. And yeah, in that second match as well, Kango definitely a run for their money in that one. But as we do move on, of course, Mitch, it's back into who we are going to be seeing on the game today. Who's going to be in the server for Wildcard?
Wildcard, the familiar faces we know across the board, infrequent, usually sort of back onto that Omen now. We've obviously seen Ninim slot into more of that jet role. Seiko will sort of be flexing, I do believe, on the old Sage and Phoenix. RDW, one of the duelists, and also the same with Ralph. But yeah, look, it's a really exciting team. Again, obviously I've known a lot of these guys for a little while now, but it's been cool to see them really sort of come into their own, because it's not exactly like, the friendship group or anything that you sort of see at the start of VALORANT. It's now that everything has started to settle a little bit. Everyone sort of started to find their way into different rosters, and so far the Wildcard one has really impressed me, and all I just want is some player pictures,
Yeah, not wrong about the player pictures by any means. And of course, Wildcard, we touched upon it in the broadcasts before. We touched upon it in the podcasts as well. This is a team that they will diversify themselves within those agent roles. You've got RDW, for instance, picking up the likes of Sage to Phoenix, and then you got Sicko picking up the Sage to the Sova, and they just are ever so changing, which leads into some spicy gameplay. And of course, who they are going to be playing kind of can do the same thing in their agent different selections. So straight out of the zoo, it's Yifeng, Nice Hacks, Mike, Duddy Boy, and Punda.
So this is the one that I'm interested more so. I do know the team, I have seen some games, but I don't really know much about them at all. I know Mike obviously is a great Phoenix, but for Duddy Boy, Punda, and Nice Hacks, I know bugger all. So that's kind of exciting to me. I'm super used to being in a position where I've just sort of seen it all before, and you only really get some exciting stuff when the shakeups come around. But this is a team I've heard good things about, so I'm stoked to see what they'll be able to pull if they can pull the card up against Wildcard.
And I think one of the biggest things is that we're going to have to wait for is the map pool as well. Who's going to pick into strengths? What's going to be banned? It is always a bit difficult given that it is still only that 5 map pool. I'm waiting for more maps. I'm waiting for more agents. I want to see that veto system with the agent pool. But for bringing it into our head-to-head tonight, Mitch, Sicko and Yifeng, 2 of the players here that, depending on the maps, change over from the Sova to that Sage.
Yeah, no, it's cool as well, right? Typically you wouldn't sort of expect the Sage to be, it's always considered a supporting character, but apparently that agent has definitely not been filling that role lately. We see the Battle Sage, so much versatility, obviously can be going in, second, supporting that duelist, making sure that obviously they're healthy to get back onto those sites, but then also being able to flex and go onto the other side where map dependent, as you mentioned, we see the duelist come out, and that is one of the most exciting things about VALORANT in its current state. And the coolest part is it's only going to get more diverse as obviously more agents come in. There might be picks and bans, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm cool. It'll be cool to see these 2 head-to-head.
That is for sure the way that we're going to be watching in towards this game right now. But as we do bring it over to our lovely faces, or your lovely face, I can't really judge for myself my own. We want to know what maps that we are going to go in for tonight. I know it's like a little bit of a gimmick in me asking this, but do you have a prediction on where this pool is going to go tonight?
No, nothing. I'm assuming Because obviously I do think we do have a cheeky little interview coming up, which means that I think there's going to be some confidence. Doesn't matter really where it goes. But off the back of that, that doesn't mean that, we are going to see the stock standard. We could really see anything come out. I'm going to assume, though, Icebox will probably be taken out. We only sort of see that around, remember, the Fun Crew and God Squad kind of stuff when it's been all slided in there. So, yeah, probably end up on, Ascent, Bind, Haven, probably the usual.
All right, Ascent, Bind, or Haven. We will wait to see that a little bit more, because we did get some words, as you just kind of alluded to there previously on before the broadcast, from one of the wild card players. It's going to be RDW giving us a little bit of his insight into the match coming ahead.
We're feeling pretty confident going into the tourney. Anything other than a first or second will be pretty disappointing for us. That's basically what we want, yeah. We got a lot of talent on the roster. We got Wizard, he's got a massive brain, he's incredible at IGL. He's made all of us a lot better at the game. I've never really played in an insanely high-level professional team before this one. A lot of talent on the roster. I'd say defense would probably be a lot stronger, because the game is very defense-oriented. And when you have a strong AWPer like Ninim or Jesse, it's pretty easy to hold. Like, you've got a lot of options when you have two AWPers like that in the team. On attack, we hardly even run an AWP anymore. It's just not worth it. Just we want Ninim to go in and, well, shoot everything in the face. He's pretty good at doing that. But on defense, we definitely want to pull out double AWP, because we just have two good AWPers, and it's so worth it. We can be very aggressive, but we can also be very passive if needed to be. It very much depends on the team we're versing. We choose maps based on the team we're versing. Any map where AWPs are strong, we're pretty strong on. It's been good. It's been very good. Putting a lot of work in, a lot of demo reviewing, lots of scrimming. It's a lot of hours, but it's definitely paying off. Keen to see what every other team does, There's a lot of good teams here. Could be upsets, definitely.
The man himself, of course, RDW. He was it's cool to see where he's come. He was one of those standouts in that little Conk Moto event we ran a while ago, where he did come away with the MVP of the event. So it's nice to get some words from him and sort of how he's feeling. That's what I sort of alluded to as well, saying that, they don't really have a map pool by means. There's only currently 5, and they can kind of confidently play whatever is there. And obviously, depending on their opponent, they'll make their selections accordingly. So that's great to hear. As we all know, you should be able to play all of the maps, and you don't want to rely on any sort of bans or anything like that. Just depends on what you feel into and how you've identified that team and how you've spectated them to see where you think you can really slot yourself in. So great wise words from Riley Boy, and I hope he'll be doing well in the server tonight as well.
I think it's one of the interesting things that they mentioned as well, that they want to kind of run that double operator setup on that defensive side as well. We saw a glimpse of it in yesterday's matchup, but it's just one of those things where it doesn't really feel like the operator you see two of anymore on the server, right? Because it had the money changes. It's costly. It's 5k credits in this game now. Overtime, you can get it with nothing else. So it is one of those costly investments that if they can manage their money and bring it on through, I think it could be really interesting to see how they do deploy that. But for which maps that they are going to choose to bring that out, that is anyone's guess. So we'll go ahead and bring up the veto system to see where we go for tonight. Show the Zoo picking onto Haven. Wildcard giving us Ascent, which is pretty much one of the staple maps in this one. And then Icebox, if we do need that third and final one.
It's so funny, man. Like, I still remember when Icebox first came out, I was like, stupid COD map, man. I hate this. It's too hard. It's like, it's because there's obviously, so much verticality and everything like that. But given the agents that are in the game at the moment, it's doable. There's obviously a lot of ability for it. You can pop around the A side with that raise. Obviously, see a lot of the Jet and the Omen, regardless, with the teleport and the dash, the updraft. So, yeah, I don't know. I've actually grown to enjoy Icebox. And I think the fact is always, it's like when, obviously completely different game, but when Vertigo came back in for CS, it added an extra layer because teams had to learn this random map that they probably hadn't played in 10 years. So now the fact that we've got another map like Icebox, it's going to happen again when something more comes through. So having those little curveballs thrown in and seeing that the Aussie teams are now more comfortable with it, it's great to see.
Nah, 100%. And one of the things that I was really loving in towards yesterday's match in Haven was actually that the Sky came out and got picked. So you had the Sage and the Sky that we did see in that later match. And I just love, teams. And it's always one of the things we talk about, the copy pasting of the team strategies. I love the teams picking something up a little bit different and just trying something new and running with that to try and cement themselves what works for them. And I'm seeing, on that change up, there is a change up for Haven right now for Wildcard. This is, a bit of a different pool of agents for them. which I really like. I'm not gonna lie, I like it.
Very, very cool. But look, that's the thing, right? You know, obviously there's meta. It is a Riot Games. You know, they're constantly updating and making everything sort of change around. But there doesn't have to be any choice. Everyone can buy any array of weapons. It's no real stress in that regard. You can get the same job done with whoever you really need. You don't want to run a Sentinel? Okay, sure. You can obviously have a bit more of a risk on defending a site, but then you've got the offense on the other side. So it doesn't really matter. Play your game. Don't feel like you need to fall into any restrictions. But we are starting us off, everybody, the VALORANT Oceanic Tour 2021. The final stages, of course. We've got 3 of them, finding out who is going to be making it over to those 2 NA spots. My name is Mitch Concannon, alongside me, Dion Komodo Perrotta. Dion, let's go straight into that 3-map haven. 3-site haven.
Komodo is back, baby, once again to roll it on through for a whole broadcast. 2B3s. Birthday boy Mitchell here. We're ready to get into this. I gave you the glimpse of the agent pool coming into this one. Usually on this map, we had seen the Phoenix be brought forward in the hands of RDW, if I'm remembering correctly right now. He's actually on that Sova to be bringing in right now. So there is a change for Wildcard. And I'm really invested to see how this is going to be different for them. But you know the biggest thing that I'm loving in this composition?
Yep.
Sicko's on Breach.
I love it. You got to love it. The Breach obviously is a fantastic agent to be brought in. You know, the ultimate definitely gets the job done, the old Rolling Thunder. But no, it's a very, very versatile agent, of course, and especially with those 3 flashbangs, I think they're going to be able to get the job done alongside the old Paranoia from Infrequent. But yeah, look, getting excited to be into this one right now. Only a couple of seconds left on the clock, but it does look like we are going to see, straight out of the zoo, early start over towards the C-long position.
Over towards the C-long position. I do believe, just for a second as well, that we have no game audio, so we'll try to remedy that as quick as possible. We might just have to bear with it for this pistol round for now, but straight in towards the C site. Straight out of the zoo, they are just charging in.
Looks like they're going to be able to get that spike plant down. It is a nice and safe, of course, on the back right, just to make sure that the members can head down long. But Yifang is going to be tagged up by that shock dart. And there we go. RDW actually going to be the first person to find it. Very nice shots coming over from the side of CT, just outside the garage. Now Nice Axe trying to make his way in. Does actually spot one as well. Ralph's going to go down. Already moving around. Does actually get onto the other side of the recon bolt there. Nice Axe. That's a second good frag here. Might even be able to pick up a third, but no, it's going to be Infrequent. Finding the frag here, getting the curveball out. Will be able to exchange a couple of shots. Duddy Boy not finding it, but Punda does, and Ninham, he's actually on this defuse right now. There we go. RDW looking very, very sharp to start us off here. Ninham with the confidence to get the spike defuse, and that's a great opening round for Wildcard with RDW with 4. Nicely done.
Yeah, bringing it back in towards that round. RDW on the Sova, trying something out new, trying to change it on through. Yeah, picking up the 4 kills with the Sova there. You got the Cloudburst to go down just to make sure that the defuse did come out as well. It's kind of what you want from a pistol. It's kind of one of those things, though, that we know the quote pug style to come through from straight out of the zoo. We may see them force up into this next round, as we do have this little intermission pause right now, getting in the audio for you guys. Do apologize for that, but we do bring it back in towards the game.
Here we go. It's in our ears
and it's
now.
Music to my ears. There we go.
Beautiful. So yeah, look, very, very nice start from Wildcard, and looks like Ninham's actually being quite confident with this Marshall. Nice making his way up towards the A-long position, but nothing spotted out so far. No tripwires to be thrown out either as of yet. So slowly cruising on up. It does look like they are going to be hitting that B site. Ralph actually not spotted out on the other side of it. Now he is. He will be able to find the first one with the Spectre from backside.
And now looking for a second one as well. The plant for here would be phenomenal. RDW, the Ares is really dirty to just spam on through. Caught and behind, Punder's down. It's all going to be down to the last lone soldier in Yifang with a shorty. Very interesting weapon to say the least. Maybe he gets Sicko here if he peeks out into the lane. They have to expect that he might be in here. It's actually going to be RDW to be punished on through, but then the penetration to the wall does get the trade on out. So all in all, you know, straight out of the zoo to run it in towards B to see if they could get something done. And get a little bit of damage in the end, but it's just nothing too untoward. Third round is the buy round.
Not bad. Not a bad start, but exactly as you mentioned, they are looking potentially for a bit of a bonus here. Yes, it looks like RDW is going to be joining the rest of his team in doing so. Marshall's still out for Ninham. Going to see what Infrequent does choose to purchase up in just a second. But the rest of the team, obviously on the other side, we've got the Vandals, we've got the Phantoms. And they are going to be seeing if they can bring this one back straight out of the zoo. What are they going to be doing right now? It looks like just some defaulting to start us off. And the ultimate actually to come out from RDW early.
Yeah, very early. Usually you do see it withheld to, you know, negate out that spike plant, but it's going to be used early on right now for a little bit of that information. Gets taken down. The big thing is the smokes are down for the side of Wildcard right now, and looks like Ninim is going to fall as well. 70 HP, very lucky to escape. No Sage here. Damage done is damage delivered, except for straight out of the zoo, as they do have the Phoenix. The hot hands can heal on through. Situation like this, I mean, you've got a little spread to come out from the side of Wildcard. Sicko's now dispatched of Yifeng, which is brilliant for the defenders, as things are marrying up towards this B, maybe a C split.
Yeah, looking a little bit disconnected right now straight out of the zoo. Mike is going to be able to get the cage out as he does start to make his way up. Another flashpoint to come out, but Ninim sitting backside might be able to get some further damage off, because as I mentioned, you know, despite having these 5 rifles, they're certainly not actually looking the greatest. Ninim's actually going to be able to find a second here. Looking very, very good. Being patient, but Duddy Boy, greatly timed shot. Now a 3 versus 2. Spike still yet to go down here.
And the curveball's out, Blaze Wall as well to get some extra HP on toward the body. Spike Plant will be very vulnerable when they go for it, so you've got to make sure those smokes cordon off your link areas. There's only one that can be utilized right now, and that is a ridiculous shot. That's just pure luck, Duddy Boy, to catch Sicko's face with a single bullet. Actually makes things a little bit better for straight out of the zoo to try and win out this round. TP across to get this spike planted. RDW with the double shock darts. Maybe it stops it. One can find Punda. There it is. That's probably the round here. Done and dusted, although... No, that's done.
No, absolutely. He has to try and find the frags here. Duddy Boy almost rings around the rosy, but that's going to be Ralph upgrading to a Vandal. But I've got to admit, that was super nicely played by RDW. The way that Wildcard played that round, they didn't over-rotate, they didn't over-aggress. They sort of just, you know, allowed straight out of the zoo to walk straight into their palms. And that's how I like seeing Valorant played. You know, on Haven, it's usually sort of, you know, the old monkey fest, speaking up to the name of straight out of the zoo. Heading in towards mid, you have those very early contests. And right there, Wildcard just said, we're just going to chill, hold on to the sites, and wait for the Zoo Boys to come to us.
Yeah, well, a new round. The bonus was one out from Wildcard, so only that single weapon carried on over. The operator gets brought out extremely early for Ninim, but that was one of the things that RDW mentioned. You know, they want to get these operators out. They want to let Ninim go and shoot. They did say, though, on the offensive side, it won't be coming out, so we'll see around that. But this is defensive side. Utilize it for what you can. They've locked down all of A long, and they can put their focus over towards C long now, where the engagements are happening.
Ooh, okay, nice Axe. Able to find that trade. Now Sicko making his way around. Great flashpoint. They're going to line up as well. That should be 3. At least 2.5. One man will still be inside the cubby, waiting to see what Mike is going to be able to do as he moves his way along the garage side. Again, they are looking a little bit disconnected, though, right now. The other side is straight out of the zoo.
Well, remember, it is just this bonus round to be coming through right now. I say bonus round, it's a bit of an eco to come through from straight out of the zoo, all things considered. Any more frags would be good for them. Sheriff of Mike can certainly find something. Duddy Boy, however, not in a favorable stance with the HP mark. Just trying to see what they can piece together. Wildcard don't want to give away any frags, but unfortunately Sicko does falter there. Spike not yet retrieved. I don't even know if it's retrievable at the moment. They can disconnect themselves over towards long. A Vandal has been picked up. Mike's head's gone. And now slowly but surely, Duddy Boys as well. 4 opening rounds here, Conky, for Wildcard. Is smooth sailing for them so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously they straight out of the zoo did well, but it was off the back of a couple of dirty shots from Duddy Boy in that third round. But aside from that, it looks like Wildcard are very, very well drilled. You know, again, as I mentioned, they're not over-aggressing. They're going as a unit. Definitely relying on numbers as opposed to sort of trying to go for those aggressive solo duels. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, but it is still very, very early days. Straight out of the zoo, they do have another buy available. Nice Hacks. We're yet to see him get onto the operator. May not happen on the attacking side. But aside from that, the dart will come in, give the information towards A. No, the dart will be damaged before. Nice Hacks is going to find his way out long.
Yeah, lots of information to be gathered here from straight out of the zoo. No long presence to really be seen. I do like the change of pace from Wildcard with the Killjoy alarm bot going over towards short. You can just see this lean over towards A with that push up over at long. Ninim's got so much info over at C. All the focus is down through towards sewers. On the back of the Rolling Thunder, Ralph manages to find Punda. One of the big duelists down for straight out of the zoo. Again, a little bit of the stark difference in the 2 duelists for straight out of the zoo to the 1 duelist on Wildcard. There's lots of topics to be seen around that. I mentioned yesterday that Avril says us as a region should have 2 duelists here, Mitch. I like the comp with 1 duelist. There's personal preferences, and I mean, Wildcard's personal preference is the single duelist, although that single duelist just missed an operator shot that should have been given.
It's an interesting one, hey. You know, like, I guess it's a similar thing, like when we saw Sage go out of the meta for a while, like nobody was playing it, and then I think it came back in sort of the, like, Asian meta, I think it was, and another while we just saw pretty much only duelists for a bit, and I guess, yeah, it all just depends on what your team element does complement and other things of that nature, but something that's being complemented right now is Infrequent. He does only manage to find the 2 before he is taken down, all under Daddy Boy. The old fault line will go down, but not even before it goes off. Ralph does find his 3rd, so they are looking very hot to trot right now. That is 5 in a row, only losing the 1 member, which was Infrequent. So Wildcard, again, you know, this is what I'm saying. It's early days. There's obviously well and truly much more of the game to come through, but straight out of the zoo, I just can't really see why they don't seem to be too keen on going anywhere together.
Feeling a little bit hot under the collar right now. You know, in that last round, it was the push up over at C long for Ninim to just hold down the fort, and then it was the focus all over at A. Rolling Thunder, shots to be seen, Infrequent to just lay down the smack on them, and whilst now is a new round, they don't have the stellar weaponry to be able to really tackle this one. They've got 4 ultimates to play with for sure, but they can't really back themselves in them. Infrequent's just found Punda. Again, an opening death, Punda.
Then a little bit unfortunate with the operator so far. Has hit the shot though here. It doesn't matter too much when he's missing shots but still not going down. Man, he's still alive, kicking, making sure that his teammates do have the space necessary. Nice Hacks is going to start to wake his way up mid. We'll be joining Duddy Boy. Infrequent just watching towards Garage. So B is clear right now. There's obviously the utility there. The old robot is up the top left. Can be spotted, but that's a good shot from Ninim. They just continue to lock it down. Again, it's just these really, really isolated picks. Straight into the zoo haven't really put themselves into a position to be trading just yet. Great shot, Ninim. Wow.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about that, is there? Just really feeling it. The B-hops that we can see through that X-ray there, and a shot that just gets hit with the operator, finally starting to just find his groove in the map. A little bit of the warmth starting to be felt. Now it is just down to Mike to see if anything can come out. Left. Sheriff close quarters. Marshall, if you could get something done. It's not like you could farm the ult points right now for them, as they do have these ultimates. It's also a situation that, you know, you start to see, if you hold on these ultimates for long, and you have an ultimate available, you could have been, you know, utilizing it and farming up those orbs or farming it up in those kills to get another ult quicker on in the matchup. So whilst they sit on them, they kind of really should be using them.
So IDW pulls out the Odin. I guess that's where we're at right now. Still yet to see that double operator, as you mentioned, but so far it hasn't really needed to be utilized. Infrequent's been sort of sitting pretty, hanging around that A site. This time he's going to actually be pushing down into sewers as well. This could be quite pressureful. It looks like all the members are actually making their way up. There we go. There's the opening pick. Maybe getting a little bit complacent now is Wildcard, but first time we do see the opening frag found. So Punda's going to be taking that, run it back all the way up towards CT position. He will get some information. Does hit 2 up towards Heaven. That's going to be the spike being planted by Nice Axe. Not quite.
Half damage delivered on towards the Killjoy on the Wildcard side. If the lockdown does go into the ground, it does mean that Yifeng can get out that Hunter's Fury as well. So Wildcard, do they try and braid it out? Do they try and draw it through? They might wait for the Rolling Thunder to be available to utilize that lockdown, or if they dispatch with Yifeng nice and early. Lots of util starts to go in toward the site right now. RDW still with that Odin, still playing up in the heavens. Shock darts out. It's Ninim, however, to lead out this charge with the Blade Storm. Nice up close and personal, though. It is only Ninim with the HP right now to be able to dance around with. Ralph is good for 1. The last alive brings out the turret, and that is all we wrote for that round. Straight out of the zoo, surviving with 3, but more importantly, Mitch, that's the first one on the board for them.
Very well done from Straight Out of the Zoo. That A site can be very, very dangerous to retake, and we're seeing it after Infrequent gave up the opening pick. We saw the rest of Straight Out of the Zoo just pretty much wander on, get the spike planted, happy to play the post plant nice and safe, and I did like the information being gathered, obviously, by Punda as well, ulting through CT. Didn't actually get to do the damage onto Ralph in the end to take him down, but regardless, they find the round 3 alive, and that is exactly the round that they needed.
Yeah, well, the operator is going to be brought out for Nice Hacks here. It's going to be a little bit of this mid-pressure. Again, it's the fault line to go down from Wildcard. They've been changing up the positions of the fault line time and time again to keep Straight Out of the Zoo guessing. It's one of those things that if it's always at the same spot, though, they can clear out the same angle time and time again, and, you know, just instill a little bit of pressure on that location. I've noticed in the beginning stage of this round, and I'm pretty sure you would have as well, that the shock dart was actually utilized to destroy the util of Ralph in Garage.
Ah, I see. Very big brain. That's the cool thing, though, right? You know, that's exactly what it can be done. It's just like the Hunter's Fury to take down the Killjoy lockdown. You know, so many different things can be utilized in this game. It's more and more as it goes further. It's always further info. Almost the collateral there. Is that actually a late shot? I think it was, yeah. So now Ralph, leaping onto the side, is able to find nice hacks, but it's all onto RDW in a 1 versus 4. Game finally turning on its head. A nice little stutter step from Yifang. Straight out of the zoo, here we go. Maybe it's a little bit late, but at least they are starting to get their way back into this one. 2 rounds is certainly not something to laugh at. And they've got 4 to go on this half.
Yeah, big rounds to come out from straight out of the zoo. The money situation, however, for Wildcard is still enough to justify that purchase to come through. Ninim will drop a weapon over towards Sicko, but the double AWP, Counter-Strike, ladies and gentlemen. The double operator does come in through for Wildcard now. I'm really interested to see how they're going to deploy this. But the same thing, right? You always see that there's a Killjoy and there's a Sova. In the lockdown being held, it's also the Hunter's Fury being held. So eventually one of them is going to have to utilize that ult, and then it's a free ult for the other person.
Hey, Dion, I got something for you.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, delicious. Nutritious. Very good. Love a good crack of a cold one. Now, walking on down, looking to find that A positioning once more. Only the one member this time, playing a little bit more passive up towards that A site, RDW. Inside Heaven, the breach of Seiko is sort of moving his way around now, but with that Al drone going out, it's going to start to clear the information. Mike at the helm, now going to be smoking off the dark cover down towards CT as well. So this should very well be a good start here. The Al drone goes out. Nice Hacks will be able to take that down. So this should be a spike afforded and a full 5-on-5 retake, which is not exactly uncommon in the game of Valorant.
Oh, good utilization on the shock dart to get some damage out onto Yifang. However, him still being alive does mean that the Hunter's Fury comes out to destroy the lockdown. Flank as well does mean that the Omen diff works out in favor of straight out of the zoo. Waiting on the time now for this retake to start to come out. Ninim finds that eventual trade, but Wildcard need to get into the site, Mitch.
They'll start marching their way in. Mike will find one, but there's the trade on the Odin. RDW going to be able to find it and clear down Heaven as well. Nice Hack still has a great bit of positioning here. I do like where the spike is planted. Punted a trade, but there's Ninim for the exact same position. It's a 2 versus 2 now, but the time is ticking, and it looks like they're actually going to get out of there. Looks like straight out of the zoo is going to be farming some more Radianite with the 3rd round here, but saving that double operator, moving their way away. And yeah, 3 rounds consecutive. Seems like it's been a trade of that. It'd be interesting if we see Wildcard with clean 6 and then straight out of the zoo doing the exact same, especially as the offensive side of Haven can be tricky at times.
Yeah, running in towards the A side there for straight out of the zoo as well. A really optimal situation to just overwhelm the forces of the operators, right? You got some players that they've started to get the feelings out that are just staying pretty on the site itself, and a couple of curveballs, a couple of, hot runnings in. They just find those kills. They find the opener, they find the plant, and then it's onto the retake where they just kind of playing with them and toying with their food. You see the blaze wall going up. You see one of those smokes going down as well. You see the line being held by the operator over at long. Really good usage of the utility to come out from straight out of the zoo in that round. And now that the double ops is still in existence, we do see that Nice Hacks' Blaze Storm has found Ralph in the process already.
Yeah, very nicely done there. And to be able to isolate, get the info as to where Infrequent is with that secondary operator. I'm liking this control taken by Ninim, though. He doesn't end up being able to find the frag, but does get the information. I don't think they actually know as to RDW's location either. Now Infrequent should be able to spot out Mike there, but doesn't quite find the frag. So still the advantage goes the way of straight out of the zoo, and it does look like they're going to slowly start to march their way up long here. Paranoia is ready. Where's the dark cover's going to go as well?
Scary thing now is that Sicko's over on this site. He's got a flashpoint to be able to throw in as well, but there's only one that remains. Nowhere near the Rolling Thunder, but there is that Hunter's Fury to be seen still for Wildcard. Mike on the flank finds Ninim. Nice Hack's turn to get him frequent. This is clinical to come through from straight out of the zoo. All the angles are being cleared very, very well.
Maybe it just took a little while for them to sort of warm into this one. You know, they look disconnected, but in this round here, they have every single nook and cranny taken through. RDW is going to go down to the hands of Duddy Boy, and now it's all in a Sicko, and I don't know if he's actually going to be ready for this member on the flank, but he does go loud, make some sound, but it's not going to matter when the shots are connecting, and that's a nicely found 4th round for straight out of the zoo. Again, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it took him a little while to just sort of feel out Wildcard's defenses, because they're looking good right now.
Yeah, the flanks were really sensational from straight out of the zoo on that one. Mike has been able to just piece things together in towards the B site, waited for nice hacks to peek then as well. And then you had the even later flank to come through from Yifeng, spotted out that Seiko was late through mid, you know, and then just kind of found him on that little bit. He's cleared out the bottom of the courtyard, and then they know that he's in cubby and mid. So really good clearing of all of the frags. And the economical situation, all that damage that has been seen for straight out of the zoo, claiming 4 rounds in a row, does mean that Spy is pretty scrappy to come through from Wildcard. But if he's hitting shots like that, we will welcome them.
Look at this push down long as well. A great dink from Duddy Boy, and he does manage to get the paranoia. Oh, hang on a second. Well done. There we go. Fans 2. It was the dink shot that came off first that did allow him to find those extra shots. Ralph tagging up Duddy Boy. So despite it being a bit of a force in, he's still doing very, very well. And some damage done by RDW to at least find one onto Mike. Now Yufeng making his way in. The Owl Drone will be destroyed quickly, but the Bolt does come out. Shock dart to be sent as well in him, trying to get towards that site. It's going to be a hard one regardless, but still, 2 versus 3 winnable. Duddy is going to go for the ace though. He does pick up his 4th frag here. Information given in just a second. At RDW, 1 versus 3.
Shock dart to the feet. Riley, don't give him the ace. Don't give it to him.
He's looking
Shock
for
dart's
it.
going to go out, and he is hunting for it. Similar HP between them. 1 shot from the Sheriff, 1 shot from the Vandal. 2 poor body.
Oh.
Who's going to get it? Come on. He's toying with him. He knows.
Doesn't seem like it's going to happen here. Oh, mate. Oh, the timing. There we go. Looks like he is going to get out of there. Maybe he does find 1 shot. Nope. Later. There we go. Straight out of the zoo with 5, Dion. They have absolutely brought this back, and they might have the momentum into the next half of the defense as well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be enough money on the board for the purchase for Wildcard right now. They do have the Hunter's Fury available. 1 off Ninim's Bladestorm, 2 off Sicko. I think in this round, you try to farm the orb up through long if you can. Get Sicko 1 step closer, get the kill. Rolling Thunder can be extremely crucial in a round such as this, especially when straight out of the zoo have enough money to drop over the operators. They're all going to go for peaks every which way. Crash, good luck picking the right one here, good sir. They've also got some ults that are near. Duddy Boy and Mike, they're both 1 away too.
TP across. Nice Axe is actually going to cop a fair bit of damage from Ninim as well. But he does actually find the frag. Nicely done. So they're getting a little bit sort of thrown away now, Wildcard. They're getting their information gathered nice and early by straight out of the zoo. Able to isolate and try and find those opening picks despite being, you know, a little bit more disconnected than what you'd usually see on an offensive side. But that doesn't mean that they're not working as a team, to my surprise, which is lovely to see. Sicko waiting inside garage, seeing if anything will be there. Shortly, we will see Yifeng walk on through. Not sure if he spotted him just then. But it looks like Infrequent's going to be taking the position over towards long right now. So he'll be gathering some important information.
Yeah, 50 seconds to go. Run it back for Panda with the spike in hand. Could see him go in towards B with a situation like this. It's always one of the difficult sites to try to contain, however, going on through. You can also see the really patient approach from Wildcard. They're in their spawn. They're waiting to deploy the Hunter's Fury and rotate quickly to C or A, wherever it comes through. Infrequent does try to get out after the first kill there. Equalization, though, 3-3. They know what's happening to A. RDW with the Shocky still available and the Hunter's Fury. Is he going to try and utilize it just to negate the spike going down? Run it back from Panda. We've seen this before. Overlooking that crucial angle. No more shields to be able to utilize in the round. This is where we start to see the plant, the darts go out from RDW.
Let's get the first Hunter's Fury shot off, but that will be the spike being planted in just a second. Sicko, great shot onto Punda there. It's going to be onto Mike to see what he can do from the site. We also do have Nice Axe. We're sitting all the way over towards long, but that's a much cleaner re-entry into the site from Wildcard. Took him a little while. 5 rounds taken consecutively, but finally Wildcard get back onto the board, and maybe they've caused a bit of a stopper on the consistency and the momentum that Straight Out of the Zoo had in the last 5. So very well done. I didn't feel like we saw the Rolling Thunder come out though often.
No, only once, if I'm actually following through on that one. A little bit punishing there for Sicko. And I think punishing as a whole for Wildcard too. Defensive side, it's usually a situation when it comes to Haven, you know, of finding that momentum, finding that mojo to keep on rolling through. But with Wildcard's domination at the start, they were really tuned in to be able to run away with that first half. And they Australia Zoo to find 5 now going onto the defensive side. I mean, whether or not we see a repeat, this scoreline, I mean, who is it really favoring right now?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one, right? Because that's what I mean. I think the only sort of saving grace for Wildcard is the fact that they did manage to get that last round, at least sort of showing that they hadn't lost the ball completely. Because if they'd allowed Straight Outta Zoo to find 6 consecutively after a start like that, that's a very demoralizing start. Speaking of demoralizing, exactly that. Nicely done from Yifang. Also another shot straight through the dark cover onto Sicko. Ralph does get a little bit of tag damage with his ghost through the other side of the wall, but now they do start to make their way up slowly towards C Long. Information given, but so much damage has already been peppered onto Wildcard early. There's 5 members still alive, Straight Outta the Zoo. Relatively healthy, except for a little bit of damage onto Yifang.
Yeah,
oh no!
And, Punda is healing up. Have we lost Jesse? I think we've lost Jesse.
Yeah, it looks like we have.
Oh dear. Damage is done though, so they can't pause it.
Correct.
Maybe we have a tactical pause come out, or technical pause technically, for after this one. A reveal in mid for the current situation though.
Still a winnable round. 3 versus 5.
I feel in a situation like this, if you're a wildcard, take it for what it is and go farm up those ulti orbs if you can. You know, get one step closer, smoke yourself off, just try and get that, see what damage you can do here. If the plant comes out, then it's phenomenal. Like they take that money into the next round.
30 seconds left.
Good damage on a Duddy Boy as well. Looks like they will be definitely ending on this B site position right now. Looks like Nice Hacks has actually started for the rotate. Yifang as well. All on that side. He could do some serious damage here. He's going to find the right amount of timing. I think he will. There we go. 3 clean ones found by Yifang and Duddy Boy. But unfortunately, with the remaining member in spawn, if infrequent, I definitely think we will be having some sort of pause. Likely we'll have the information come through to our ears in just a minute, but until then, we won't know. So appreciate everyone's patience as whilst we find out the scenario. You never know what might happen. Dad might need help with something. Oh no, he's back!
Oh, he's back.
Okay. Or maybe he was just...
Beating the cat.
Yep, maybe. Sorry
Pistol
guys,
rounds.
can you take this pistol round? Oh, I've got something to do.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Well, it is what it is, right?
Power cut very briefly. So.
Okay. Well, hey,
Quick
good
restart.
timing. Good timing. He's straight back
Very
into it.
good restart. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, nice.
Well, it does mean here that the pistol round was dropped by Wildcard, so one step closer for Straight Outta the Zoo. You would assume that they gather this round quite freely. That is a great lineup for Nice Hacks. Only on Marshall. Can get overwhelmed technically, but
Nice.
more frags from the area. They're all going to line up for him. There's one in return and only one. Full house to be seen from Straight Outta the Zoo. Very, very quickly done round here, Conky, for us to even up and to give us a gun round for Wildcard.
Very nicely done from Straight Outta the Zoo, taking advantage of that one. And as you say, a sort of Nice Hacks only getting taken down slightly. He will only go for the Sheriff. It's still an interesting scenario, right? I mean, he's obviously got the ult only 1 point away, so he can probably just stay with the Classic, go and get the Blade Storm in just a second. But yeah, look, the bonus in this game still reigns supreme. And we did see it pay off for Wildcard, obviously, in the third round of the start of the game. So now Nice Hacks, there we go, collecting. But Ninham in a good spot to deny. The camera is up, though, and there's the information gathered.
This is a really good play to come out from Straight Outta the Zoo as well, realizing that they've got the lesser weaponry. They know that the numbers advantage can be played with over here. The Blade Storm to lead out the charge. They got 3 numbers. On the flip side, they do leave themselves weak at B or C. It's actually going to be B that's completely got nobody here. Yifang's able to get one out with Guardian. Infrequent is good for one in the trade. But Straight Outta the Zoo, they're working out what to do in this bonus round. They're starting to find everything. The TP does get destroyed out by Sicko in the end. Plant can look to go down, and now it's about the containment on this site. No smokes Straight Outta the Zoo. That is going to hurt them here. Wildcard, they've got their own smokes to play with.
Well done on that adaptation, though, as you mentioned, though, right? They know there's 3 members over towards that A position, so maximum of 2 towards C. So Wildcard take advantage, get the spike down on this site. Sicko waiting patiently. Will he hear someone jump over his head in just a second? Maybe not, but Nice Hacks to find another frag. All onto Infrequent now, 1 versus 3. They do jump onto this defuse. Still going, though, and he's going to run out of bullets. Punda's going to find him. So a very, very nice round there. Again, it's only the bonus for Straight Outta the Zoo. They take the lead, they pick up the Vandals, and they have been doing handsomely right now.
Well,
Second
that's
Vandal.
not only the bonus here, Mitch. That's the bonus that they themselves win. The first buy of this half to come out from Wildcard, and they don't get it done in the end. They had the smokes and everything. I actually thought that the cages from Mike were already utilized in that round, but they pushed out through long with Mike earlier on. he, I believe it was Mike over there. That cage to block off the vision over a C long acts as a normal smoke, right? It couldn't push through that, couldn't see the line on towards the defuse, and that is a really well placed round for straight out of the zoo. And that's what I mean. You know, I mentioned it in the pre-phase of this game. We could see a world where in the first map or the second map here, you know, the only maps for straight out of the zoo to be able to catch wildcard off guard would usually be the first map, and it's starting to come into fruition.
Unfortunately, that shot does not quite connect. Obviously, with the changes a little while ago now for the operator, if you do step too quickly, the accuracy is not quite there. Yifang. Apparently, the accuracy is there for him, though, as he does manage to find two. Sicko got to deny Duddy Boy. Ninum actually finds one back here. This is where it gets a little bit dangerous. They do have another flash available, I do believe, potentially. No, not ready for it. Panda does get the curveball around, and he is looking to try and find this pick. RDW not quite able to find it, so it's going to be all on a Ninum. Does pick up the Phantom. He's got a lot of work to do. Spike down long. He has to try and find these picks. Mike's going to deny it. And that's straight out of the zoo, finding 9. Wildcard, they need to get the stranglehold back quickly. Otherwise, this game might run away from them. And it's off the back of a very... Actually, I've got to admit, across the board, it's looking very, very nicely spread of the frags. Nice Hack sitting on top. He has had a very, very good run with that Blade Storm. Now the operator in hand. But every single player in this match so far has been doing their part.
It's an interesting thing, right? Because of the composition, there's a very big difference when we see Wildcard with the Phoenix as opposed to the Breach here, right? Sicko is on the Breach now with RDW on the Sova. When it's the Phoenix, it's Sicko on the Sova and RDW on the Phoenix. And it just feels a little bit right now that it is straight out of the zoo kind of capitalizing on the aggression with their own duelists, right? Running it through, winning out in those aim engagements. And one of the things that we heard earlier, right? Ninum needs to be going and fragging. We don't see that all too often in the early stages of this attacker side engagement yet.
So the Cloudburst is going to allow 4 members. We still do have Ninum waiting patiently towards that long position. Hasn't quite aggressed yet. Does shoulder it out. The old Ninum peak, not with a classic in hand though. Does actually get the information on a nice axe. The location now revealed. Sicko is going to be able to get that out. Does actually have the Rolling Thunder available as well. If he does so choose. Mike might actually be able to find a pick, though he will. Sicko does get his second, though.
Sicko was blinded then.
He was. So that's going to be the spike going down, Dion, but the Hunter's Fury does actually find one in response. Can they find any more?
That's an extra tag to come through. I think they're on towards Ralph in the cubby. It might have just been. Doesn't matter now as Ralph is eliminated. Punda, great curveball to come through. And that dart just absolutely eats RDW's HP for breakfast. Down to 60 HP. Can't quite get the aim on towards the head of Duddy Boy. The frag is found. Also, the TP attempts to come through from Infrequent. Shroud step to get out of the range of the Hunter's Fury. Unfortunately, didn't happen. So it did catch him in the end there as well. A really good retake to come through from straight out of the zoo there. Flawless in this half. 5 in a row. 2 rifle rounds of wildcard shut down. And it's on, you know, straight out of the zoo, grouping up a little bit early and kind of just, you know, bullying them with the guns.
And that's what I love about this game. I admitted it at the start. I don't really know much about straight out of the zoo. This is my first time casting them. I know a bit about each of the players in a little way, but they are looking good. You know, they seem to have each other's backs. They seem to be making sort of tactical decisions as they aggress appropriately. Now, nice axe going for that pick. They're not going to be able to find anything early. Does actually destroy the bot, which is great. The turret to go down. But Punda sitting back at the site. There is a big stack actually here over towards the C and B areas right now.
A situation like this, I would kind of like to see Mike over at the A site push through, get a little bit of information. I understand he is the Sova player, so he doesn't need to do that. But now that the bag has sort of been given up by a wildcard, they're throwing the Hunter's Fury from RDW to clear all the angles. They're not going with it. This could be a false sense of security that they're trying to throw over towards straight out of the zoo. They see the disconnection now, and it kind of leaves Mike to check his camera, make sure nothing's coming out. We may see the rotation go back over towards B. Nice Axe is still looking into that line and garage, and look at it. They're shuffling up on that radar. They're making sure they're covering their bases over towards B. This would have been the optimal situation for Wildcard to run it down the C side.
Look at Yifang. He's ready to try and go for that information play now, and whilst he does, he is actually taken down. The turret does go down. I don't think it went exactly where it needed to, but nice axe still waiting at the top of that site. Does get the information as to where the Blade Storm is from Ninum. And now they actually do head their way back towards C. They've managed to pull a little bit more of a rotate away, as you mentioned. But it is just going to be Punda sitting in that corner. There's the information. Has to go for the shot. Curveball comes out, and it's a great one as well. He actually does manage to find one. Blaze wall available as well. They might have to run straight through this, Dion. It's a great flash to come through.
The flash.
There's another pick. Punda, he's done great here. Is he still alive? He's still alive somehow, Dion. He's even got the hot hands available as well. And he's
5 seconds.
teammate in nice hacks. They don't have enough time. Seiko has to go for something. But Punda, what an incredible round there.
Yeah, one of the biggest things in that is actually that Blaze wall. It blocks off the vision just enough that the flashpoint doesn't really work for where Punda is located. It did blind off Operator in the hands of... Was it Duddy Boy? Oh, was it Nice Hacks there? I think it was Nice Hacks there on the back of the side. He's able to get the frag as well and just block it on through. Really well placed for straight out of the zoo. And that's one of the things where time is ticking way too far from wildcard. You know how I mentioned it, that they settled down a little bit. They themselves went back over towards mid. They could have waited it out, relied upon maybe the gamble of straight out of the zoo, leaving the C site, which we saw on that radar that they did, and then run it back in towards the C site. It feels like to me in that round that they did second guess themselves way too late.
We're in an awkward situation here. Frequent does get away. For the time being, Nice Hacks is still hanging around to party. Has actually lost that dash for the time being as well. And Frequent shouldering it, gets the info, but is taken down. Minim. And amongst the cages as well. He's going to be able to wait patiently. Ralph, good frag to be found. Now that's actually them finding the B site here. The lockdown will allow them to find that plant. Nice Hacks looking for some information. Won't be able to find it. That's a great flash in. Seiko, well done. 3v3.
He doesn't take too much damage from it as well. Now Ralph could try to get something done with the Spectre at close quarters. Can't, however. Punda to find him. More damage to come out from that. Nice Hacks has cleared the back of the site with the jump up a little bit earlier. Knows that RW has Sixth Sense that he's in that corner. Has Cloudburst that he could technically put over to that location. Right click does miss.
Great
Rolling Thunder comes on out as well. It actually gets RW and it makes him miss his dart. That is extremely unfortunate. Aftershock to get them off the spike. Punda finds Seiko. The light up for RW. Now it's 1v1. He saw the spike isn't half ticked, but he's missed another dart. He's missed two. A recon and a shocky. And now that one doesn't get the final frag. And straight out of the zoo, find 12.
RDW on a character that we're not used to seeing him on anymore. And he seems to be a little bit thrown. Definitely feeling the pressure right then. But when you've got a big boy Chad Breach throwing an ultimate at you in the corner, and certainly feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit threatening, demoralizing. But regardless, man, like look at the spread of frags on both of these teams. Very, very clean. Everyone over and above the double digits. No one really lagging behind. I feel like Infrequent has been a little bit quiet. Same with Ninham, but not playing bad by any means. Whereas on the side of straight out of the zoo, you know, despite the 5-round disparity, the frags aren't really that far apart. So it's proof that straight out of the zoo, they are having damage taken against them, but they're still playing a great game, and Punda doing so much work as well.
Yeah, that's kind of a lucky play to come out through from Punda. They're not really. I mean, the spray through the smoke, you'd usually do that if you've got that Phantom to be able to play with. He could be ballsy and run it back from a safe spot, but Ninham is just going to return straight through that same smoke. A lucky bullet to catch Punda's head. It's the 1-for-1. Nice Hacks in the meanwhile has pushed all the way up through A lobby. They know it. A nice little curve of the smoke to come on through. So do mention it there. The leg's on out. Ralph manages to find one. Knows that Mike's there with the bullets, but he can't get that trade. Info off the neural theft to flash out. Nice Hacks gets out of dodge with the...
he doesn't know.
Now. I really like this. This is funny. Ninham has no idea. Is he going to catch it? Jumping on down. There's the frag needed for wildcard. That's the one that can turn things in their favor, Mitch.
That was so funny. Nice Hacks managed to bait him away for a little while, but still so awkward to try and find that shot right there and then. Now Mike, great use of the tripwire there, being able to find it, has the information as well, all of it too.
That's so huge.
Very nicely done, as you mentioned.
On the flank to come through from Yifang as well. This might be the deal sealer on the operator for RDW. There you have it. A potential upset to be seen here, Mitch, for map number 1. Straight out of the zoo, straight out of Haven into a victory, 13-7. And it was their own map pick as well. So they got to be really happy with that.
No, absolutely. What a way to start. You know, they let Wildcard come out really, really clean, 6 in a row. And it really looked like at the start, straight out of the zoo, were super disconnected. It seemed like they were a brand new team, not really understanding how they needed to approach it. But then it was almost like they flicked a switch or something, and all of a sudden, we saw this really, really connected team, 5 in a row, picking up the pistol, the resulting round, the bonus, everything that they did from there on out was just absolutely clean, not giving Wildcard a single opportunity to get back on the defense at all. And that's a great way to pick up Haven. They've got so much momentum behind them. I can see everyone in the chat supporting them on. And it's exactly what we want to see for some Friday Night Valorant.
Yeah, and it's one of those things as well that it feels like a little bit of shakiness was being seen there from RDW and Sicko and the different roles there. Like when I think of Haven for these guys, I always used to associate the Phoenix on RDW and the Sova on Sicko, right? They've changed it up a little bit. They have done that in the past. They've had this composition 2 times before. But tonight, where it counts, right? It's a final. It's to go on through. It's to find those points, to get the money. They dropped the first map. It wasn't their own map pick. They go in towards Haven next, but now they have to find it in the reverse sweep nature.
They do exactly that. So, yeah, look, I guess it is the pressure on. I saw in the chat, when it is a team that can play all different agents. I agree, though. Wildcard, they've obviously got a very, very deep agent pool in each of the individual players and everything like that. So maybe they took a little bit of a risk, but that shows that, even when you're going up against an opponent that you might sort of feel is weaker than you got to be careful because, yeah, straight out of the zoo, they've come out strong. And that's what I mean. It didn't feel like it was, a one-sided affair by any means, but straight out of the zoo were clear victors in that game. There was no super tight or close rounds. Once it moved on to that defending side, it was the zoo the whole way.
And of course, guys, that does mean at the end of map 1, we're going to throw it over to a short intermission for a 5-minute break, change things up over to Ascent, give a little bit of a reset on that mentality for Wildcard now as well, because we know that they're going to come in with some new agents in the next map. But guys, stay tuned, don't go too far, and we'll be back after the break.
I just time traveled. Today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi. Wow. Which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya.
Oh, it's still in the garage.
Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the VALORANT Oceania Tour for 2021. A bit of an upset for map number 1 between our current teams in Wildcard and in Straight Out of the Zoo. Bringing on up, of course, my name is Dan Komodo Prada. This is Mitch Conky Concannon. And Mitch, I did say it in the preface, if there was anything to be seen here, if this wants to go the distance, we needed Straight Out of the Zoo to come out with in map number 1. They didn't in the very beginning, but they brought it back.
That's exactly right. It was really the straight, clean 6 rounds that Wildcard managed to pull at the start. Then they got one more. That was it. There was nothing else. They found the final round of their defensive side, and then pretty much it was all the zoo. They managed to really, really look great. And as we were chatting about, it is sort of a bit of a looser structured team at the moment. Certainly not like a finalized roster by any means, but it's not like they pulled out anything cheeky. There wasn't really any crazy aggression or anything like that. It was just nice and clean. They seemed to be very synergized, and at the start, I thought they looked a little bit lost. They didn't really know sort of where they were going, but then all of a sudden it started to connect. The dots started to line up, and they were just pushing through and catching the members of Wildcard very much off guard. So it was a very nice game to watch, and Haven being taken out, very dominant, 12-7, 13-7 rather. It's nothing to pick fun at. So Ascent now, that's where it's going to be Wildcard that really need to step up their game.
Yeah, and of course we are going to have the different agent lineup come out from them on this map. If they follow in the regularity of what we see, we're going to have that Sage to be brought out from RDW now, and the more comfortable pick of the Sova to be back Xenon towards Sicko. So I am kind of expecting now, if they were going to go in with a different agent pool, maybe they might choose not to, just on the verdict of us not having seen that composition recently from them. Now that they've just lost that on Haven, which is a map that they've been really comfortable with in the past, that they've lost to Shadow Zoo here, it might be a little bit of a wake-up call from them to go back to that familiar territory.
Yeah, exactly. Pressure's on right now. They're the second-seeded team in the competition. They really need to get moving. It's the exact same thing as Order yesterday. If they were caught sleeping and you get knocked out in that opening, that's 30 points that you get, no more. And then you've really got to rely on the remaining sets of the competition. And now the fact that there is that extra spot, God Squad aren't a given anymore. They're already going over there in their own right. Now there is 2 very realistic spots to get over to that NA Masters slot to see if they can actually make it to the global finals. So lots of pressure is there and available for all these teams. So I think there's a bit of a wake-up call coming in, but it makes for some very exciting Valorant right now.
And I'm hoping that this series goes the distance now as well. I would definitely like to see that last map in Icebox to sort of see what maybe more Straight Out of the Zoo have, actually, instead of what Wildcard have. I think I'd be more more inclined to see what Straight Out of the Zoo have in being the sort of in a branching scheme of things, the unknown team in towards this matchup, right? And I think that's one of the things that they themselves might be maybe expecting to not have taken out a victory here, but now in taking out map number 1, I think that's a wake-up call for not only Wildcard, but for themselves, that they've got it in them to be able to take this out and knock out that second seed.
That'll be crazy. It's certainly not something you expect to see, but with map number 1 straight out of the zoo, they've certainly earned their stripes here. So now we move into Ascent. Once again, guys, of course, this is the Valorant Oceanic Tour for 2021, put on by the beautiful, handsome people over at LPL. Thank you again, Let's Play Live, for all the love so far, and obviously the capacity in running this competition alongside Riot. We move into map number 2. This time, wildcard selection, Conk Moto coming back at you. Dion, mate, what do you want to see coming out here on Ascent?
Familiar territory, comfortable ground plays, I think, is the big thing to be seen here for Wildcard, and I think it's something that we definitely need to be seeing from them. A map down, this now their map pick of choice. It is the agent lineup that we were expecting to be coming out from them, but for straight out of the zoo, the Breach is now out for Punda as well. They are going to be opting on the side of the one duelist. Likewise with Wildcard, bit of a different change up with your Sentinels there, and you know, the Breach towards you. Actually, who's the Breach counteracting here?
Ooh.
Yeah, the Sage. There we go. Anyways, flashes off the board. I'm a little bit...
that's going to hurt.
That is a really good aftershock.
Yep, the aftershock forcing RDW into an awkward situation. I like that, though. He's ready for that B main push. It is becoming a bit more of a regularity, but the coolest thing here is on Ascent, a lot of the time we end up seeing the very, same picks, but this time, obviously, we've got the Cypher flexed out for the Killjoy, and then the Sage flexed for the Breach. So, yeah, it's cool to see that, not everyone plays the same crap over and over and over again. This time, we're moving in, getting into the B main position now. RDW is going to go for that little spot over the top. It is something that does get noticed early on, though, but Ninham, he's straight in, and that's a great opening pick from RDW.
Yeah, but now Punda at the back of the boathouse needs to get something done. 12 points of HP, no heals out. It is the right click from Ninham on the back of the bounce. The shock darts, they also bounce off the floor, but they don't roll the numbers on the dice to get that damage. Superb thing to come out from Wizard. A bit of magic to come through. Mike, though, also getting out the dink. RDW, he's still up on this wall. I think this round is being a little bit shocking over towards straight out of the zoo. Duddy Boy 36 HP, getting flanked by Sicko. One right click miss, the second one don't. Flawless pistol for Wildcard.
Flawless, very clean, very nice. A bit of a change of pace from the previous one. We see this time on their offense. They were unsuccessful with any offensive rounds on the map of Haven. Now here on Ascent, their territory. What have we got on a purchase? We do see the Guardian come out, a couple of Spectres, and just the Ghost for infrequent, which means obviously we are going to be expecting to see that double operator come out. And it's a map for it, right? Ascent, obviously lots of long lines, plenty of distance to be played up. But on the side of straight out of the zoo, they're going to go completely clean. Only the classics, and it's going to be Ninham to start off here on the Duddy Boy.
Yeah, one shot on the get-go, infrequent lurking in dark cover. You'd expect a pretty clean round from Wildcard here to back up that pistol, but they're making sure that they're clearing everything properly, except for the intended locale there from Wizard.
I wasn't going to say it.
Out the nano. I'll say it. I'll comfortably say it there. Hit your util, boys. There was no pressure for that util there, but anyways, I mean, it's understandable. Things do happen. Again, a minute on the clock here. You just got your spread approach from Wildcard, really covering ground, making sure there's no aggression from straight out of the zoo.
Yeah, we see too many of these classic rounds lost. Just things that should never, ever happen in a competitive video game, but Australia seems to be the locale where it does on the often. So moving on up, has to move away from that aftershock. Ralph looking to swing around, does get a nice shot onto Nice Axe, but he's tagged up in the process, almost goes down to Punda. Now he needs to live on and try and find his teammate of RDW to get a cheeky little heal. Yifeng does find Ninham, a headshot, but not quite the actual damage, and now it's all onto just this final member of Mike hiding under the balcony. Will be spotted out by Sicko. And another flawless, so not a single frag to come out from straight out of the zoo yet, but they are going to have their rifles. They're going to be ready here to defend on Ascent.
I know that that was a, a shock dart that did get Mike there, but that little flick to catch the bullet to the head through the wall was a nice one in the end. But as you do say there, a double flawless to come through. Now straight out of the zoo. Have to get things started on this round. The rifles are here. It's the bonus from Wildcard. The Spectres, a Vandal for Infrequent, a Guardian for IDW, still that Marshal for Ninum. I kind of would like to see here a push through to those orbs from specifically Sicko. 2 points away, a kill and a death is guaranteed a Hunter's Fury, but if they farm up that orb, they could technically use it in this round and have it be extremely impactful to clear out the corners to get those kills. The engagements, though, over towards main. That's a massive amount of info. Nice hacks catches the first frag. And that's just how Breach can be extremely powerful on this map, right? It's likewise of any real flashing character that you would put there. The curveballs to come on through the Breach, just as we see there. Even the Sky Guiding Light flashes to come through in that corner. It clears out so much, and they're stuck.
Look at this control from Mike, though. All of B. They're going to know that nothing is home. They will need to send at least one member towards mid to just keep their eye on accordingly, making sure nobody's getting into market. So this is a bit of an interesting rotate, Dion. They've completely left up the A side. The Owl drone will come out. There is one on top of the wall. That's going to be RDW. Great shot there. Let's actually get the information onto the Sova of Yifeng as well. That is going to be the A side. I'm wondering what the call was for straight out of the zoo. It did actually send the members back over towards B, despite Mike having that control. But with the spike down, it's a 4v4. How do they play this?
Yeah. Well, the plant did come out there from Sicko on Wildcard, but he does get the Hunter's Fury as well. So now he's able to play with that a little bit later. Mike, though, clearing up IDW on top of the wall. Looks like he couldn't really see him there. It was
Great paranoia.
A graphical difficulty, but Sicko gets dispatched off. Yufeng finds Nim too. And now that Mike finds Ralph, that is the third round. The bonus being dropped out by Wildcard, but more so being found by straight out of the zoo.
Mike did a lot of damage there. Did very, very well to be able to find what he did. It was a bit of an interesting round to come out from straight out of the zoo, but I did like the opening pick and the opening control towards the A-long position. As you mentioned, it seems like a team that, at least know what each other's doing. You might only be running very basic strats, but it's strats that make sense. They're working. And yeah, Wildcard come out strong, but straight out of the zoo, the second they pick up those rifles, they're ready to rock and roll. And some good damage to be found by Wildcard at least. Obviously spawning that spike plant, being able to take down a couple of members of straight out of the zoo. Now they're ready. They've got their Vandals, they've got their Phantoms. And this is the time where they need to get on the board. Ninum, shoulders out short, but nothing found yet.
Yeah, a little bit of information, and that's where Yifeng was poised with that Guardian, but it's going to be one of those rounds where mid-control tries to be gamed out by a wild card, just kind of testing and treading the waters right now. See what straight out of the zoo are going to opt for. It's your 1-2-2 approach right now. Mike just looking down B, a little bit of floatings happening over in that situation. Again, this is one of those rounds for wildcard where I would kind of like to see them gather control either through A main or the B main area, get the ulti orb on the back of Wizard, get one step closer to that lockdown, because they could really capitalize on drawing out, the Hunter's Fury from Yifeng, the aggression of the Rolling Thunder that we might see come out from straight out of the zoo as well. It just comes down to those little, small little 1% of counter plays. It can really tip it into towards your favor.
Right here.
So not much action yet. 50 seconds left on the clock. Dark cover to come down to cause a bit of a void between mid and CT. Now making their way in. Very nice shot there from Ralph, from Daddy Boy, onto Ralph. Good defense to start this round off, and they're still keeping them there. Wildcard looking so scared right now of just one Cypher boy, one camera boy. That's a great cage to come out as well to start us off.
Oh, this is a really nice cage from Mike. It's going to cover so much, but the dash through, it gets the better of Ninum. The cage does expire. IW to get the trade on the through. Great stun as well to make sure that they are a little bit disoriented. However, with that wall going up from IDW, they can sort of lurk behind it. They've got the Hunter's Fury. It's a very vulnerable scenario to be able to draw that out, however. So it's on to the retake for straight out of the zoo. Lots of corners to be cleared. This wall eventually will go down via destruction. And now IDW is really stuck. Hunter's Fury to be brought on out as well. And after forces IDW's hands, and now they trade positions through the smoke, and Frequent manages to find Yifeng. Still a workable scenario.
Oh, Infrequent's done actually really well here, in and out of that dark cover. Now Seiko sitting in the back of Boatshed. He actually does start to walk out though onto the other side. Does find Daddy Boy and Infrequent. That was an incredible 2 versus 4 right there. It was a nice swing from the side of straight out of the zoo to take down IDW. But then, yeah, Infrequent really lifting onto himself there. He managed to completely throw off Nice Axe, and then to be able to find the second and the third frag on the side defense. well done from Wildcard. They find their third.
Yeah, it's a rifle round shutdown for straight out of the zoo as well. They're going to be back on towards their pistols. Situations like this, you might look to see towards those gamble stacks, but they're just going to play out the sort of spread nature. I kind of get the feeling we're going to see a paranoia potentially go through B main. Maybe we see that aggression. It'll be that dart paranoia combination. For Wildcard, a definite round where you want to see them just catch everything, catch all of these kills. And for the play that it was from straight out of the zoo, they do go in towards B main to get the control. They go through mid as well with the split from Nice Hacks. This is so much map control now from straight out of the zoo that Wildcard are forced to go into the A sites.
Yeah, they're going to know immediately the second it starts to come out now, but Cloudburst to come through, allowing Ninum some control of the site position. They have crossed over, but Mike, these cams have been so good. Great wall from RDW. Should allow them some extra space. I do like this one, seeing the member sit on top of that wall. Let's have to remove the dart, though. Now walking around. Great pick there from Infrequent as well. Certainly trying to dismantle now. They're still waiting to see where that camera is, but now Ralph just waiting nice and patiently. Not really a whole lot that straight out of the zoo can do right now. They're just trying to break down so much utility.
Well, it might shape up to be a little bit of a flawless one right now, and if you are Wildcard, you definitely didn't want to be dropping any players. One in the end is going to be okay. Ralph already had the lockdown. He can repurchase the weaponry that was lost. For straight out of the zoo, though, it is going to be back on towards their purchase right now, and it's, again, one of those sort of reset territories where they need to be able to find out this round. They haven't been able to get out the operator as well. And I think that's one thing that straight out of the zoo may really rely upon helping their situation. We've seen a lot of aggressive peaks from them, right? And an operator certainly would help that out.
It's going to be interesting to see if Ninum buys or not here. Of course, he does have the Blade Storm available. Heading over towards B nice and early. Nice Axe is going to get in aggressive as well, but that's a great paranoia. Ready to get moving on up now. Does he find the close line? Oh no! It's all gone wrong. Sicko does manage to find it though. Somehow Ninum's still alive. Now they try to get onto the site here. They will be allowed to find that control, forcing away Yifang. He's had a bit of a quiet one so far. Spike planted. It's going to be a tough 4-on-5 retake here, Dion.
Yeah, and the resurrection can come out from RDW as well. I actually thought that Wildcard dropped a player. Just then, not gonna lie, I thought that straight out of the zoo found the frag, but it's actually the other way around. It's very difficult to see sometimes in this game for myself. But Mike, not so much, as he manages to find Ninim. The hot turret will be destroyed as Ralph is back into start cover, and Nanostorm as well to throw out potentially over towards lane would be a nice little sneaky position, but he's going to lurk on through the smoke. There's one and a half make it, as massive amounts of damage is done onto Duddy Boy. Any reveal right now will be that free frag through the wall. 3 on the site for Wildcard, a little bit of the heal to come on through. Time stick away from the spike. You're looking for exits for straight out of the zoo, but more importantly, they're looking to send it out and go back in towards their cage as well, because they want to save this weaponry out into the next round. It's another one for Wildcard.
They are looking much cleaner there. I'm still laughing at that jet kiss that happened outside B main. But in the end, it was Sicko to find the frag. Very nicely done. Mike has had a lot of impact here so far, and I feel like he has sort of been carrying the way for straight out of the zoo, you know, with his control on that Cypher.
And
so Wildcards seem to be at least getting their act together, you know, in this map. They seem to be much more fluid.
And on that note as well, we haven't seen any frags yet come through from Punda, but he has been assisting in the mark, right? He's locked down the angles. He's put out those flashpoints to get those peaks from his teammates, to get those openers as well. They just haven't been able to convert that into the round wins. And when they finally start to do that, that'll instill a little bit of better oomph in towards them, and they'll be able to get back into it. There's that opening conversion that I want to see happen, and now they can settle down as well. Hunter's Fury is out, which does mean a resurrection could be denied.
That's Duddy Boy doing his best crunchy impression right now, swinging out short, nice and wide on that Omen. But look at the control that's been established here by straight out of the zoo. Once again, they already have so much positioning, but it does actually look like Wildcard is somewhat ready for this.
Oh, well, the resurrection can actually now come out, as the Hunter's Fury does get used very, very early from straight out of the zoo. I'm kind of surprised as to why Yifang did bring that out, but hey, each to their own. They've pushed up in through towards mid. They've secured a bunch of information on where Wildcard are. Infrequent is lurking around in wine. No from the shadows to be able to get out of here, but a shot on towards Mike will certainly help the situation. Now it's going to be go time for Wildcard to get in towards B. There's a bit of a tussle going in through mid as Punda finds one. There's the res. Their advantage now for Wildcard.
Now, they've done really, really well here. I was about to say, the scary thing was the positioning of the member of straight out of the zoo inside B link rather. And ultimately, they did manage to isolate him, find the frag. That's a great opening from Yifeng here. And I think potentially we might actually see Niceax overlooked, but no, he gets aggressive and he might have actually thrown away his position if he does manage to find it. RDW in the corner, though. Niceax did well, but now it's Punda and RDW into this 1 versus 1. Does he get away on the other side? He does, and RDW can close the round, but I think that one felt a little bit too close for comfort for me.
Yeah, what a confusing turn of events, I guess I would say, there in that 3 versus 3 situation. Everybody's around that B site. You see the shots, you see the right click start to come out from those Vandals there to get the zooming action on through. Lots of damage that was actually done and delivered twice on the back of those tags. You saw all of the players be taken down low on Wildcard. RDW at least still had the heal to come on out, so he's opted for that self-heal. Actually helps out in the end to be able to take that one-on-one duel again. But as you say, I don't really think that's a convincing round completely by any means. You know, the money situation again is here for Wildcard. They've got to purchase in this one. There's half buy to come through from straight out of the zoo right now, but they really need to find themselves. A situation like this is what they saw over on Haven, where it was about the scoreline that they started to get things happening. Hopefully it happens again here, but they have just lost the opener.
Another good start from Wildcard. They seem to be falling their way in now. You know, Infrequent seems to be happy, trying to sort of contest that control over towards the A position. Mike narrowly missing the shot. Actually does hit one onto Infrequent there, keeping them back for the time being. Looks like Niceax has pushed his way in towards B main again. Doesn't find anything just yet, though. Another Minim peek to find Daddy Boy. So he's done well to find these opening 2 picks. Just the one member of Yifeng up top. Nothing found, though, as of yet. Minim up already onto the site. Mike, can he do anything? There's one shot. Very nicely done. Hides back towards the short position, but Wildcard have the site here.
Yeah, that's one of the things as well that you know and come to expect if you've got a Sage on your opposition on that attacker's side. You know that they're going to get that wall going out over towards the door. So Mike, he just realizes that peaks at the perfect time. Door actually gets brought up by Ralph, I think it was there. It wasn't even destroyed, and it's actually to his death. This is a sticky situation. It's a half buy from straight out of the zoo. Niceax does lose his life in the end, and now things are being cleaned up very nicely. Ninim for 3 at the end. Wildcard on 7. They've still got this Hunter's Fury available, which they haven't really utilized for quite a bit now. I wonder if this is the time to do so. Purchase is here for straight out of the zoo, but Mitch, I mean, we're expecting a potential big scoreline to come out from Wildcard. We're starting to see that now on their own home map.
The momentum that they needed, because after a bit of a shock start, I think, losing that opening map 13-7 on Haven, especially Wildcard, I don't feel like, you know, they're a bad team on Haven either. It seemed to be a pretty comfortable map pool for them. And at this rate in time, it does look like we are likely to go to that Icebox pick. But straight out of the zoo, get the opening information. And it's actually only going to be this one member. So if they get a roll on very, very quickly, might be able to find something over towards the B site. But they just get the orb. Now Crew's back. No aggression as of yet. And look at this heavy rotate as well. Straight out of the zoo. Pack mentality. One to the other.
Well, the lockdown can come through for Wildcard. We'll need to see some shock darts come out potentially from Yifeng, or an aftershock come out from Punda, actually, that'd be able to destroy it. I'd love to see that little lineup, but a lot of ground control to be laid out for Wildcard right now. Mid is in their domain. Straight out of the zoo, you know, they've been a team that has really put a lot of pressure in through mid earlier on, and they've just relieved it now to let Wildcard come into their clutches. The B main presence of Niceax does actually win out that duel. There's the lockdown, but the trade does come out. See all of the rotations now coming through from straight out of the zoo, but this is the split from Wildcard as well. They know everyone's in CT. They have market covered.
Yeah, they need to get moving. They need to get moving fast, but that little bit of utility have sent them back. The information given Infrequent, he's got so much control. The trigger discipline as well, allowing Ralph to find that frag. So now it's all onto just the 2 members, Yifeng and Punda. Yifeng is going to be able to find 1, the damage dealt, but man, so many things are happening. We'll be able to destroy the turret, the recon bolt's still ticking. But they're both in CT. It looks like they are still going to go for this. It is a winnable position in this 3-on-2.
Biggest thing right now is that Hunter's Fury as well, that Wildcard can just utilize when they get any reveal of the info. RDW just waiting for the time, and the time is put to good use. Sicko found Yifeng. Punda had seen his steps, and Wildcard to find 8 on the attacker's side. They have really found the momentum that was just scattered on the floor in pieces over on the first map.
Having a little chin scratch moment right now. What does straight out of the zoo do? They had a very, very nice defensive side on Haven. But maybe that was just Wildcard being a little bit disconnected after what we see here, or, you know, straight out of the zoo, just not really a comfort area on Ascent. But regardless, it means Wildcard have got the heavy advantage early. Nice Hacks is already into this spawn position. Does have the information onto Infrequent as well. Good paranoia. Doesn't quite get the Bladestorm off to be able to find that extra shot, but he's forced these members away. They have the information. Jet's going to be continuing to push as well.
Oh,
but no, falls away. Doesn't push that dark cover.
Whenever I see a player push on that side, I just get reminded that that position is called gelato, and it makes me really hungry for some ice cream, I swear. Some good sorbet, man.
Oh, I had a gelato the other night. Passion fruit. It was delicious.
Jealous.
Spike planted.
So Spike down. It's going to be a tough retake. But they do have the extra member on the other side of that wall. Do like this one. Little gaps on either side. Is going to be able to find Nice Hacks. The information is given, though, that Recon Bolt Mike can't quite get onto the other side, though. Does actually jump onto the wall. Going to get the Neural Theft down now as well. So still with that advantage. Mike is extremely low, but they're just waiting for the dart. Ninim's going to be able to destroy it. Now trying to find their way around the side, but Ninim, great shot onto Mike there. Getting their way onto the side now. Still low. Ninim, oh my word. What a hold from the Jet here for Wildcard as they solidify 9. They are looking very, very fresh here on the map of Ascent. They are out for blood. A little bit of revenge on this second map.
And that's the thing we were missing from map number 1 as well, wasn't it? The impact that Ninim is able to bring to the table with the fragging department. Free haircuts all around to keep them fresh. Wildcard, 9 rounds now to only 1 of straight out of the zoo. And that one that they gathered, it was on that bonus one. It was when Wildcard were at a weakened state, and they have not seemed weak at the better stages of this half right now on this map. It's getting to the tail end, however, with 2 to go. That means things will flip up. But you know, the biggest thing still that I mentioned, the operators for straight out of the zoo, they haven't been coming out.
Yeah.
Their economy is in the bin time and time again.
Yeah, haven't seen anything come out for Nice Hacks, have we? Not at all. It's just been mainly the blades and, you know, picking up the Phantom here and there, but slowly clearing up now. The Nano Swarm to clear out that cubby. Punda has been forced back. 3 members towards the A site once more. Ralph already has this control of mid. Great job. Awkward position here. Unfortunately, Yifang with the Marshal is going to go down again. Daddy Boy trying to clear out something extra in short, but it's just so hard right now for straight out of the zoo. Very, very awkward. And even in the previous round, you know, despite having the man advantage, they just couldn't quite close the gap. And we're seeing that once more in this round where Wildcard, they found the opening advantage, and straight out of the zoo just seemed to be a little bit lost on their rotates.
Yeah, well, we start to simmer down in the beginnings of this round still, or rather the mid-round of it. 40 seconds have ticked on over. Daddy Boy's going to get revealed in the garden as well. Have to fall on the back. An opportunity now on this A side. Ninim's already through. Tickles the feet of Nice Hacks. This is just really well-placed Jet play. Even catches his own aim on the wall for the swing. This is how you play Jet, folks. 1, 2, 3. Does get put down in the end to Punda, but he's already done the damage in the round. Flashes for Punda to utilize, but does he have the strength for 4?
That's what you know. Like, when the confidence of that level is there in this position, they are far ahead. Wildcard is willing to take risks, go for high-octane plays, and Ninim has just been super consistent. I'd love to see where he's actually sitting right now. He's not actually even that far ahead of the rest of the team. 9-9-9-9-9.
Yeah, it's the previous few rounds that it just feels like, hey, Ninim, go frag. You haven't been fragging, and the team is rallying behind him. He's just going in there, putting down the assistive utility in the spots that clear the niche angles, that he can just run around and get out those shots.
No, he's done really, really well here, creating space for his team, going in first as the duelist should. And yeah, he's been rewarded for his aggressive play. And look, Mike, you know, he had a great start as well, but he started to fall off a little bit too. So it's just very, very nice to see that Wildcard have certainly got their groove back. No longer thrown off. But that's a collateral headshot that I've just seen from this Guardian. Not quite going to be able to find another as Ninim is still there. And I think RDW might be a little while away from his resurrection. No, he's got 3 away. So unless he gets a couple of frags, not really much he can find here. So it's going to be the disconnect of Wildcard here. But that is basically off a very large 1% play to come out from Nice Hacks there.
Yeah, well, last round of the half right now, a minute to be able to play with. No res to come for RDW now. Look how many ultimates that they've lost in this round as well. That's 3 of them. Your Lockdown, your Hunter's Fury, and your From the Shadows that really could have repositioned themselves and forced Straight Out of the Zoo to reposition as well. Ninim has to be the one, the instigator, to find all these frags. 2 blades. The third one does reimburse them. RDW, though, he's starting to creep in towards the site. He's 3 ticks away from an ult. A kill here and a plant. And then another kill. We'll give him it, but where's the camera? It's over in mid for Mike. I wonder, will he be cleared? A Spectre, though. Not the greatest weapon. He's heard the info.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It did sound like, or look like he heard him. Get him up nice and close. Does close the door, watching for it, seeing if he can find anything. But look at this control from RDW. We already saw it. We already knew it. And this is a 5v2. Duddy Boy does find it, but where's the push coming from right now? Oh, RDW still alive. But it's tight. It's close. Certainly a round that Wildcard had no business winning after that first opening from Nice Hacks. And that's the stress, you know? That's like, guys, I got 3 kills, please win.
It's a good use of the From the Shadows for Duddy Boy as well. Reposition into the back of main and wine, and then peek out into the spike planter where all of their focus is being put in towards short. You know that RDW had, RDW had calmed out that the 2 players were up in heaven, right? Or wasn't Nin that got up into heaven? It was RDW. One of them got up into heaven. I'm pretty sure it was an RDW.
It was RDW.
Cleared out, grabbed the frag on towards Punda, saw the other player. So they know that the focus was on towards short. Then they hear the TP, and it's just caught in a little bit of their confusion. RDW can't quite get the spray down in the end. And then Straight Out of the Zoo do get a second one on the board. But that is nullified with the half switch.
Clearing in. This is what they need now. Straight Out of the Zoo. They did it in the previous map. They certainly had what it takes on that attacking side, and now they are going to get up nice and early. Ralph, a little bit of damage to start us off, but look at the utility starting to fly already. Yifang will get that plant nice and open, but look at Ninim. He is going for that Ninim peak, but nothing will be spotted as of yet. Here we go. It's just going to be this, isn't it? Yep, there we go. Love to see it. Nicely started. Does manage to pick up that one with the classic. So the retake is going to be a 5 versus 4 in favor of Wildcard.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult as well. Straight Out of the Zoo are locking down every extremity onto the site. Good paranoia does force Nice Hacks in towards Hell. Mike has managed to find Ninim in the piece as well. More kills to be collected from both sides. The advantage is null and void. The 1-to-1, it's going to be the difference. Can RDW get it out? Does get tagged, 50 HP. No extra HP is coming onto his body. The taps out from Mike. The shoulders on through. He doesn't need to go for the repeats. He's actually toying with the idea. One more tag. There's the next one. And Straight Out of the Zoo do claim pistol.
I took a drink of water and all of a sudden turn around and things have happened. So very nicely done from Straight Out of the Zoo. Able to find their way back into this one, but obviously a lot of economic damage taken. They are going to invest as usual, but it's actually Wildcard to go the step further. They've got the $900 round winners in hand. Never mind, they've actually gone against it. Never mind, they've gone for it. Let's see what will happen. RDW's pretty happy, you know, 1,200, it's enough to sort of get your way into that buy into the next, but I think they're just sort of baiting him. It's like, can I buy it, please? No. Now, holding on to that utility. Early frag actually found by Infrequent. Nicely done, but quickly traded by Nice Hacks. But the damage advantage goes the way of Wildcard early on.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow pace approach now for at least the next few moments. You've got the one player in Ralph over at the A site, and the rotation's actually coming really early for Wildcard too. Sort of a time like this where Wildcard should technically, by all means, try to gather some sort of information, but they are leading the approach to Straight Out of the Zoo to kind of piece things together over in mid with this grouping up. RDW is very close to main, so he would hear any footsteps and technically not get blinded from the very close angle that the flashpoint would usually overlook. But yeah, RDW is now pushed in towards main, so they know the information is over towards this ace site. Ralph has to be really careful as he does have a little creeping Mike coming over towards the vicinity. Oh no, RDW.
The timing, and that's the only member there as well. So the others are going to have to start marching in towards that TT position. Great shot from Sicko, actually. Gets dinked up in the process as well. Ninim, couple of warning shots through the wall. Punda is extremely low. Yeah, he has to be a bit cautious here. Because the man advantage still goes the way of Wildcard.
I was going to mention that the man advantage is here. You do already have one of those players low. That's Sicko on the low HP there. He's actually been found out by a sharp shot as well. Both players now coming in from a lane. Yifang is hitting everything with his Guardian. Punda steals one, looking for the second one, and Ninim missing all the shots. As I say that, Ninim now 1 versus 2. They're both low.
Very, very winnable in the back of the boat shed. The dart does come out, but there's the information. No! He's peppered around the head, and now the bolt doesn't quite come out, but he probably just quite doesn't have the time, but that's a very nice shot onto Yifang. Shouldering it out now, trying to run on in. He's run out of bullets.
Oh my gosh!
But does he have the time?
He does.
He's got the time with the knife!
Oh, yeah, he's got it. He's got it. Oh, no, he doesn't have it. 0.26.
Oh, God.
It's one of those things where I need to know if they've got it in the UI.
Yeah.
As a spectator. Like...
Oh, that was tight, dude. But still, knife kill in that situation. And to almost be able to pull it off.
Kind of wild.
That's pretty crazy. Well done, though. Great damage. Because that was a nothing buy coming out from Wildcard.
Yeah.
And all members of Straight Out of the Zoo have gone down. The money situation is now worse. And Wildcard have taken advantage of that buying in here.
Yeah. That's like... I don't know, 4 or 5 times now that the spike has always just been that low on those defuses. I remember with Pilski, we had that 0.01 defuse over on Split that was just narrowly missed out by Thunder, I think.
Oh, the old Sova ascent with the Odin. You love to see it. The paper-thin walls getting the job done. So, Straight Out of the Zoo need to continue to lift here because... if Wildcard take advantage of the amount of damage they did in the previous round, that's going to set them up really nicely for the rest of this. And they've only got 3 rounds that they need to pick up. Ninum is in a great angle to find a frag, and he will. Yifang goes down. Now Punda will at least be able to pick up the Rolling Thunder here, but not much else for the time being. 3 on 5.
Three on 5, slowly piecing together some sort of information. Punda to be the one to find the info, to be the linchpin in this round. The Rolling Thunder can entry on towards the side. It's just that turret as well is poised over at the A site, and there's 3 players here for Wildcard. They technically have everything that they need here to defend. Ninum doesn't even need to peek on from this angle. He could technically tuck himself on the corner. And this is one of those angles, right, where you just don't expect him to be sitting in a situation like this. Now that there's frags starting to come through and there's 10 seconds straight out of the zoo, it's a case of save the weapons in towards the next round. They don't really have a chance in it anymore. And there we go. There you have it.
Yeah, nice and clean there from Wildcard. 4 members live on, and they take advantage of exactly what we spoke about, right? You know, not losing any real members. The Bucky still reigns supreme for RDW here. They don't have to reinvest a whole lot either, just picking up that additional rifle for infrequent. But yeah, now the money for Straight Out of the Zoo. It's in a very, very horrible situation, and with Wildcard only 1 round away from taking it up to 12. And obviously, that's going to be map point. And then we've got Icebox only just around the corner, so it definitely looks like we are going to be finding those 3, unless Straight Out of the Zoo has something incredible. But look, we know Wildcard is in their best boat here on Ascent. It's definitely one of their best maps, or the best map from them. They can go toe-to-toe with the best, so pressure certainly continues to amount for Straight Out of the Zoo, as RDW is getting up close and personal with his Bucky.
All I can say is if we continue on this form and we get sent into Icebox, I'm going to be really keen. But for the pressure to be built on over towards A main right now, you've got Mike starting to fall on back, making sure there's no flanks to be seen. I'm waiting for this Bucky to do something. I want to just see him peek on out, but the flashpoint goes through. Ninum does manage to get a trade. In frequency here as well, they know that there's 3 players here. They've seen the utility, they've seen the damage, the kill to come on through. It's now on Strad the Zoo to just renegotiate what's going to happen here. Do they rely on Mike just starting to lead something over towards the B site, or do they continue to put the pressure on through A that they've seen all this utility be utilized? And it's actually going to be the first point in that. They are going to retrace their steps over towards B.
So creating some ground. They have put their presence away from that site. Obviously, still the utility from Ralph. He's sitting inside market, watching towards top mid with that line. There is going to be a member in his way shortly. Mike does get his head ripped off inside the mid position. Nice hacks. Isn't too far away, though. I think that was a wild alarm bot to give the information too. So Ralph knows he's going to be able to reposition down onto the stairwell. And with 20 seconds left there, they have to get moving quickly Straight Out of the Zoo. Otherwise, we are going to be seeing round number 12 come in from Wildcard. And I think that's a pretty convincing factor here. It looks like Infrequent should be able to drop, likely to. There we go. Nice and easy as you do it. Last member is going to be Yifang, and he will be taken down by the Odin of Sicko. And they are 12 rounds, 1 away from bringing this to Icebox.
So I know that we're in a situation where it's 11-4, and I know that, quote, I'm only a commentator in that, but I feel like Straight Out of the Zoo just kind of gave up in that round 15 seconds to go. 2 players at the bottom or the top of mid there. They know that the utility of the Killjoy is on that B site as well. They're putting pressure in towards the defender spawn when they need the objective to go into the site. I just kind of feel like really straight out of the zoo gave up in that round. Like, it just kind of felt like that.
And listen, I'll say one thing right now. Diamond is harder than Radiant, okay? Just so you know.
Well, let's see who's going to be getting the diamond in this one, because wildcard 12 rounds to straight out of the zoo's 4. It's if it's 13-4 here, that definitely is a statement, but the statement was already made in this one, right? Straight out of the zoo took a map off of wildcard, so we go into that third map as a clean slate. But for now, we're talking a little bit early. It could be a statement. We see straight out of the zoo get 8 rounds in a row. It's going to be very difficult, though. They've already lost 1 player, and Punda with that Rolling Thunder is down to out 30 HP. Yifeng, however, finds Ninim. There's the Rolling Thunder. At least it gets utilized.
Yeah, it was a little bit quicker this time coming out from straight out of the zoo. They've already found that location on the site. Mike does actually get taken down. No, takes down Ralph. Very nicely done, finding him under. And Frequent trying to make his way through. Will be able to destroy the door. Nobody up towards short, though. RDW, great pick on the Duddy Boy, but Punda is still alive. Does manage to at least equalize with that trade. Mike trying to do some further damage, but the Odin don't exactly want to be trying to wallbang against that one. Unfortunately, Infrequent unable to find the frag. Sicko trying to find something else, but with the dart going onto him, does get spotted by Yifeng. And there we have it, at least straight out of the zoo, who's still got something left in the back pocket as they find 5.
Yeah, a little bit of an awakening for them to get another one on the board. But besides the first 2 rounds of this half, I mean, they haven't got anything in succession, right? It is definitely going to be a struggle for them right now to continue on in that phase. You take that round for what it is, more a little bit of aggression in towards the A site, the Rolling Thunders to assist in it, a little bit of the smokes to go down, coordinate for those angles as well. And in the end, they actually just hit their shots quicker than Wildcard did, right? And they caught them off guard. They were out of the site while straight out the zoo were inside the site. So if they can do that again, they can start to muster up a little bit of their more forces, find those opening jewels, be leading into some easier conversions.
Great opening pick there from RDW, the Battle Sage to find Duddy Boy. And now, unfortunately, straight out of the zoo will be limping their way, maybe into the museum, if they end up a little bit ancient in this one. Wildcard still looking very, very good. The double operator looking very pretty. Great trade out from Nice Axe. It is a little bit late, but this is what I mean. The confidence to straight come out from Wildcard there. Narrowly missing the Hunter's Fury.
Player advantage for Wildcard. Lockdown can go down. It can't be destroyed on out from straight out of the zoo as well. Use that, keep that for a retake. Mike really wants to find that dead corpse there to be able to use the neural theft. Time has probably ticked away a little bit too far right now, so it's going to rely upon someone getting a kill to be able to find that. Infrequent's been taken down to 10 HP that we've already seen. Some nice positioning from Nice Axe here. We'll catch the frag onto Sicko. No, he won't. It's the easy ones that you miss and the hard ones that you hit.
That's exactly right. And Ninim has all this defense for Infrequent right now. Did he find the right amount of timing onto Yifeng? Yes, he did. And Infrequent will find the closing shot. So that's a very, very nice result in the end from Wildcard. I was a little bit worried after we saw the opening on Haven. Again, we know how good they are on all these maps. You know, it's usually not like there's a definite weak point or anything like that. But I do have to give credit to straight out of the zoo because they still looked super clean, but unfortunately weren't quite polished here on Ascent. But then again, Wildcard, very dominant on this map in the region, and they were super successful in that previous one. So 13-5, certainly a solid score. An icebox. Theon, we get to see it.
Yeah, one of the big things in that as well is Ninim, right? 23 frags, 9 deaths, leading out the charge, multitude of frags to come through. Time and time again, we've seen just those multi-frags, the 3Ks, the 4Ks. We didn't get an ace, we were close to it in the end. We got a knife kill as well, which is kind of funny to see at the back of that B site there. But as you do mention it, Mitch, of course, we are all tied up 1-1 in this series right now. So we are going to throw it back over towards that break. And in 5 minutes time, we'll start to diverge into a little bit of the icebox. And I am going to be really keen to see what we're going to be bringing out on this one, guys. So 5 minutes time, we will be back. Stay tuned.
I just time traveled. Today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi. Wow. Which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya.
Oh, it's still in the garage.
Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.
Alrighty, everybody, thank you for being patient in our little wait to get the players into the lobby after the update of the client. We are ready now to get in towards map number 1 between the Direwolves and between Mind Freak. My name is Dion Komodo. Joining me tonight, as you guys should all know for being here, is Mitch, Concannon. It's a new series now, Mitch.
It is a new series. It is Direwolves versus Mind Freak, and we will be rocking and rolling into Bind in just a second. A reminder for everyone at home, this is the VALORANT Oceania Tour 2021. These teams currently now duking it out, not only for the cash, but for an opportunity to get over to those NA last chance qualifiers so they can roll around in the global VALORANT Tour. Very, very big and exciting, given the world stage at the moment. You know, obviously we are only just sort of getting back to this level of competition where people can start somewhat traveling again. And hopefully by the end of the year, we might be there. So this is the event where you want to win and you want to start getting it going now. So we are going to just check over to what we've got. And I think what people will notice is we do actually have a cheeky little friend of ours in picking up a opposing map. So it is Bernski in here, isn't it, as well? Yes, it is. So we're going to have Bernski as the sub for the time being. I do believe Yakuza just waiting for that update to come through. So hopefully we have him back for next map. But Bind, ready to rock and roll. Let's get into it.
I will say one thing off the get-go for this matchup. The Owls have brought out a Brimstone. Brimstone, I really like being brought out on the map here in a Bind. It's something that me and Pilkey touched upon last night. So I wonder if it's going to work out for the Direwolves here as opposed to the Omen of the Mind Freak. But apart from that, it's pretty much a mirror match comp.
So how do they play this now? Both these ciphers, obviously more so favored on Bind. But yeah, pretty much the mirror matchup, as you mentioned. Watt obviously on his famed Omen as usual. I do have a feeling for some reason. Mind Freak. I don't know. Just sort of feel like they might have this one right now. They might be a bit, you know, ready to get into it. Because that's what I'm sort of feeling like, right? You know, I don't know. Just, I feel like, again, one of these two teams is going to 2-0 right now. Whoever wins this map, I just have that feeling in the back of my mind.
I think I have a little bit of a feeling as well because the sub has been needed to be pulled out for Direwolves. Is Bernski going to be warm coming into this?
Hopefully. He's pretty good looking. Should have it in him. So slowly creeping their way up towards B. Hookah control has obviously been established. 3 members cruising up through long. Lakers, aggressive as ever, is already up towards that CT position. Bernski's going to be forced away. So they should at least find a nice, happy plant, nice and early. A spike will go down. But they can pretty much just afford to sort of sit back now. Head over towards long. It is just really only sort of playing off Lakers' call right now.
And the Cloudburst is going to go out towards CT as well. It is actually going to get revealed by the Recon Bolt and get things down to 47 HP. Bernski, though, we talked about him, does manage to find one, but a couple of trades come left, right, and center. Does equalize on the 3 versus 3. Still with the spike down, starting to get defused. The camera, though, in an untoward position. Does actually get the tag on through, and with the last bullet,
okay.
What takes the head off of Jun. And Mind Freak do convert in the pistol.
Alrighty. Nice shots there. Should just very well be an eco coming out from the side of Direwolves. A good effort to sort of get back into it, but Mind Freak looking good right now. Again, if they start off on the right foot here on that offensive side of Bind, it is the more challenging. Direwolves, if they find the next round, of course, when they do have the bye to come back into it, that should be where they can start to get rolling. Very, very important to find as many sort of defensive-sided rounds on this map as possible, because it can get a little bit spooky if the offensive side does really find the weakness and break through.
Yeah, well, slowing it down in this one here, Mitch, just making sure that nothing does get choked on up. Mind Freak, they do want to try and just gather the clean round right now. Lakers has been permitted a big push up through long with the judge. There's a lot of big open angles, though, in this map, specifically when it comes over into the creep up towards the B of sight. So usually you would see the judge going towards the hookah area, right? For now, could be a little bit vulnerable at the distance game, but at least he does have his teammates all next to him.
Scroll, Lakers, you do well here. Payne, he's at least able to find one. Jump back into Hookah. Does have Jun rotating over to join him, but they're actually going to go for the TP here. Would have heard all of that information, but look again, you know, just an eco here. Really, all Mindfreak need to do is just ensure that they don't take as much damage. Make sure they can maintain as much as possible. They've already had 2 members taken quite low. Jun just on the other side of the site. Might be able to find something, but no, Norson is there. And looks like Wildflower's going to spot out and even find Payne as well. So Mindfreak on the right start, but this is going to be Direwolves fully buying into it here. Let us see how they go.
Let's see how they go indeed. This is where we start to get into the early depths of the game. I think that's one of the big things as well, isn't it? To see which narrative we're going to be telling and steering on toward in this matchup. The defensive side of Bind is usually one that you can start to find in the accumulation of the big old rounds. And we're going to start to see, hopefully, Direwolves be able to do that, because we've seen a lot of these bonus rounds tonight that have, you know, gone in the favor of the team who had already found the pistol on the second one. So hopefully we're seeing some maybe normalcy start to come in towards the matchup.
Paint shells to come out over the other side. That's sort of forced back, but looking to take that control. Junior's in a good position here. Might be spotted out by the Recon Bolt, though. He will indeed. They do manage to take it down. Not a whole lot of damage expended, though, so far. Lakers, as usual, up and aggressive with his judge. Good position to be in. Does get some information further, though. Raph only going to be peppered by some damage, though. Jun has done very, very well to find 2 here. Dark cover to go down. Will afford themselves some extra time as they do start to clear around to that side. Lose in a good position here. Taps onto the defense, but Wildflower does manage to find one. Make that a second as well. Now it's a 3 versus 2. Wrath is at least being able to equalize to find a second. Off that defuse, though, they've done well to find the time, but there's Wrath with another. What could go big here if he does look at the right position, but I think Wrath's actually spotted him.
Oh,
he actually does the damage.
Half the... No, not half.
Time. No, not half, but I think they do have enough time regardless. Payne, well done. Wasn't able to defend Wrath there, but regardless, that was a nice recovery from Direwolves, and they pick up the first defending round of their own here. Nicely done. Mindfreak, though, they were on the bonus, and they will have another buy coming into this one. Economic damage is the big important factor here from Mindfreak, because look at the Direwolves buy now.
Nah, 100%. To get 4 kills at the ending of that round, Mindfreak have been very well placed to, you know, keep the buy somewhat interesting and entertaining on the Direwolves side. You can see that they've had to drop down on towards a Bulldog, on towards the Spectre now as well. And on the flip side, you've got all the rifles there. Only really Pex or Wildflower who's down on toward those light shields. But I look at the ultimate points right now. Look how many of them are actually close to being able to get. Everyone's within 1 or 2 ticks. So for Wrath to push in towards the showers, that's now 1 on the back of the orbital strike. I don't actually know if he got it because of all the bullets being shot at him. He did. I can see the charge at the bottom there. So another person that's 1 off. Those ultimates in the early stages of this matchup could steer a little bit of the power plays.
So looking to take Showers control. Slowly starting to creep on up here. Once again, Direwolves playing a relatively sort of passive route. Happy to leave Wrath inside U-Haul. See Jun so sitting back towards that site, just sort of playing off the camera. Mindfreak will start to get a bit of a wriggle on in a second. A good smoke, though. Keep them at bay for the time being. Scroll has actually spotted him out with the owl drone, though. Also going to be doing some damage to the tripwire. So once again, Mindfreak, they do make their way up towards the site. Payne should be given some information there. But Lakers, once more, he's already up and personal. And that's going to be the first frag found on the Payne.
Spike planted.
And the spike to go down now as well. A couple of ults to be played with over on the side of Mindfreak. Jun to peek on through. Does get taken out by Scroll. Eventually, the Cloudburst does phase over into the U-Hole. Bernski able to find Lakers. Starting to get a little bit of the footing in the ground. But they need to be able to get into the site. And they need to be able to do it relatively soon. They need to tap that spike as well to fade out the presence of that Hunter's Fury, potentially. The Shock Dart goes out first. Now the Hunter's Fury does eliminate Bernski. Spike, I don't know if it's actually been half defused. Dash on through, however, does just leave the last member alive in loot, and no longer as well. The 2 kills to be claimed from the Direwolves there, but Mindfreak do ultimately claim the round.
A little bit of extra damage done by Scroll onto his teammate of Wildflower, but it's not going to matter in that scenario. As again, Mindfreak, they've started off well, 3-1. very, very clean so far on this offensive side of Bind, because once again, Direwolves, they're going to be, fortunately, not dipping into their pockets for the time being, just sitting around that 2k mark. Loot might be able to collect the ultimate orb, and does have the shield to go with it. We know how good of a player he is on this Jet as well, so if there's the opportunity given where he can get that Blade Storm, it certainly might start to get a little bit scary.
Oh, we're straight in towards the B site right now in terms of where the ultimate is located for the Direwolves. See if the Blades can go here. There's 3 players of the Wolfpack over at this side right now, and that's exactly where Mindfreak are starting to turn over towards this round. Could see Lakers bring out his Blades as well, because the distance with the judge there doesn't really do anything. But Scroll is going to start off and find loot. No res to come out, so the Blades done and dusted. With a minute on the clock, Mitch, we're starting to peek in towards this B site.
Making their way up again. Has been a little bit of a slow sort of progression. Main thing here is it's going to be Bernski inside. Very nicely done with that classic. Lakers is going to be able to find him though. Sort of got Lakers picks up a shotgun more than he does a rifle these days. Jun, solo dolo, 1 versus 4. We've got the Bucky here. He's going to be making his way up. He does get the extra damage dealt, and there will be the round. So another eco, obviously Mindfreak finding that one nice and cleanly, only losing the 1 member. Well done from Bernski accordingly. But yeah, look, so far, Mindfreak looking good. Direwolves need to start to get back into this as soon as they can. Blue will be able to pick up the operator though, which is a crucial factor here for this team.
Yeah, Mindfreak's starting to have a little bit of that early grasp on the attacker's side, but really, you know, favoring over towards the sort of bouncing between the A and the B site with every which way the rounds are starting to go. Glass cannon, though, on the operator. We'll see if it is going to work out for Lou. Potential on that one and done for the round. But I look up towards the orbital strike that's now available for the Direwolves as well. You know, that can really be used to push Mindfreak out into some uncomfortable positions, and that's something that we would definitely love to see happen right now. You've got Hunter's Fury as well. You've got that rocket to be used too from the Rays. So the early sort of startings to this new round, we're seeing a bunch of the abilities go out. There's 3 players over on this B site for the Direwolves, but they're not doing anything proactive over at A, just on the back of Lou's operator perch up. Now that he's falling on through and they've heard the TP, they have to be ready for the action.
Paranoia does send Lou back, but it's going to be Scrawl finding the opening pick on a Wrath. Another refrag as well from Watt. Lou inside that U-haul position that he did get around, at least able to find another frag, but Wildflower is able to find it. Payne was good with the Hunter's Fury though at the same time. It's all on the Jun now. Watt already up in heaven. Neural Theft will go down. We're going to try to find that information. A great teleport out though. Mindfreak are playing very, very cleanly right now. They are completely walking over the Direwolves, which does surprise me a little bit because we know how good of a team Direwolves actually are. As Jun does look to jump down, Watt does swing, and he continues to impress me on this Omen on this map. Yeah,
a couple of openers, but all of the frags, you know, they're just being found by Mindfreak. They're just getting some really good reads and pulling over that 3rd player to the B site that leaves A site a little bit more worse for wear for the Direwolves. And Mindfreak, you know, hitting out their shots, getting that spike down, having up that numbers advantage right now is one of those big things. It feels like it's very tame Valorant that they're playing right now. There's nothing too just extraordinary. It's kind of just making sure that they're checking everything on their list, and it's working out quite nicely.
Yep, the old slow play, then the Lakers go kill. Something along those lines. This time Bernski again, inside Hookah. With the Bucky, Lou will be spotted out, but nothing to come of it really so far. Once again, as you mentioned, just the slow play. They're happy to sort of, you know, wait the time down. But then with that being said, you know, Direwolves aren't really overextending either. They're not looking to sort of make their way aggressive down short or anything along those lines. It's just sort of been allowing Mindfreak to walk on them, maybe find a couple of frags, but at the end, you know, the economic situation has just been a bit rough for Direwolves so far.
Yeah, it's again, Mitch, another round where Mindfreak are just taking it slow with the progressive nature up through the B long area, but they've already pulled the rotation over to the A site nice and early. There's a little bit of the forward play from the Direwolves over in the showers as well. They've got a Cypher Cam set up, a little bit of deep trap wire, and they also do have their Brim playing over in the pit quite low. Remember though, this is the sort of Bucky round to come out from them. See what they can get out of these shotguns. They can have their full purchase in the next round. Now that dark cover goes down, actually does bring out from the shadows from Watt, and it's just used to clear a bunch of the angles. He does stick it into the site after seeing nothing. So we'll see what he's going to be able to transition at the endings of this round. A 5 versus 5 retake to come on through. Already do see that the Sova for the Direwolves is low, but look at all of those frags to come on out. Burnski's good for one in the trains, but that just gets mopped up very quickly.
Very, very well done there from Wildflower to be able to find the 3. Funnily enough, the paint shells was tossed off by his satchel in the end. But he does top the scoreboard right now. Every single person doing their part. Norson hasn't really had to go big just yet. But now Mindfreak, they've just looked very sort of, clean and concise. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. They're just sort of taking their time, waiting for any pushes, slowly walking up to either B or A, and then, locking it down, setting the post plant. And they haven't really been contested by the Direwolves at all. I would like to maybe see Lou get a bit more aggressive with this operator because, again, every single member of Direwolves individually is a great player. And obviously, they're all mates, which definitely adds to the element of how well a team can sort of succeed too. Already up, Lakers is inside U-Haul, and he's found Burnski.
A couple of frags again on these openers from Mindfreak. No shots to be connected in from Lou. Maybe a little one through the wall as Norson manages to get the kill out. Still 5 alive for Mindfreak. The money situation for Direwolves is already in shambles, and they've just been forced back in the round. Juan finally getting 1 kill in toward the piece, but it's still 4 lurking about on this round for the Mindfreak crew. And Brawler's going to be able to close it on out there, Mitch. It just feels like the slow little aggression and the group ups from Mindfreak. They're getting in toward the site, hitting all of their shots, and Direwolves don't really have an answer thus far.
7 rounds on the attacking side of Bind. Can be a little bit spooky to deal with. Definitely going to be a challenging one to come back from for the Direwolves. I'm not going to put it past them. Again, very, very big amounts of capacity inside this team, especially if we do get Yakuza back into the next map, which is what we want to see. Guy is incredible on his duelist, but obviously need him to be there for it to actually happen. On the corner, Lou does go for the aggressive shot. That's what we were talking about though, right? But with the rifles as opposed to just the pistols, now the recon bolt does go up towards long. Already looking to get out as well. Burnski just below, and he's actually going to be taken down by Wildflower. Blue does find one onto Lakers, but they're already walking up. They're already clearing. Norson gets the information, but Jun is going to be able to find the frag. So he's actually already out onto the site too. They're going to go for the teleport straight away. And look at this position for Wildflower. So well done. Should be able to find Jun here. But he's actually going to start to walk through. Okay.
This is
allowed the timing to go the way of the Brim.
This is a difficult scenario now for Pex, actually, because if he loses his life, it's a 2 versus 2 scenario and an upgraded weapon for the side of the Direwolves. There's the dink, but Pex does manage to find Jun as well. Maybe just caught him making some noise on the rotate. Not expecting him to be at that location. But there you have it. Another round that Mindfreak is able to win. It's not as clean as the remaining, or the previous ones have been, but it's still a pretty convincing one, I guess, in the end. Again, it just kind of draws back to the pullovers of these rounds, the TP late in the end. They're kind of just treading the waters again at the beginning of the round, and then they're making that wave happen that Direwolves don't have the equipment to be able to surf it through.
Yeah, certainly not the start I expected. That's all I can say. But now we get to see the aggression come on through, but unfortunately doesn't quite connect onto the head of Lakers. That puts pain onto his lonesome. Jun is there as well. This time they've actually sent Burnski over towards the A side, so they are at least trying to change some things up. And this obviously was the map pick of Mindfreak. They're very confident on their bind. They are measured, well tested. They practice very on the regular as well. And I'm liking that, most of the roster is still there, of course, from the original one that we did see under Avant. Jun, middle of sight. Wildflower's going to be heading on out, but Lakers is actually going to take him down before the showstopper can connect. So just chilling. Now, the rotate does start to come over, but yeah, you're exactly right, Norson. He should get plenty here. 2 picked up. Wildflower to drop it, and this is, I don't really have many words for this. I think we're going to be wrapping up the series a bit earlier. I don't know.
Well, maybe for this map, Crash on point with the kills coming through, Mindfreak on point with the kills coming through. Direwolves, it's been a little bit of a crash for them right now, and I don't know, man, it just feels like Mindfreak are just on a bit of a ripper right now. They're looking good, they're balancing their money management really well, just getting everything needed, really keeping Direwolves in a state of duress, and I don't know. What do they need to be able to bring this back besides opening picks and then more conversions and more picks? Because every pick that the Direwolves gather, Mindfreak just instantly retaliate.
Smoke. Molly.
Stone Chad. Getting the molly down. Raph will be able to find at least one. This is looking like a much better round, though, so far. Payne's going to be able to pick up Wildflower at the exact same time. So it's all left down onto a very low watt. And also Scroll. 2 versus 4. Still a winnable round, but finally, we see a little bit of life blown back into the Direwolves. And it's exactly the time when we need it because, you know, we're moving into what? This is the 10th round of the match so far. If Mindfreak get 10 or 11 on the offensive side of Binds, it's probably going to be a pretty quick defending half. That's all I'm sort of thinking about this one. Yeah, again, just still a little bit surprised by the result. It doesn't really, you know, my speaking right now doesn't really sort of reflect how I feel. It's just that I don't really sort of know how to put it apart. Mindfreak are just playing very similar each round. They're not really doing anything crazy out of the ordinary. They're just playing it nice and slow and then taking the site fluid.
And it's one of those things where we came to expect, you know, this to be really close and go the distance in all of the maps. So I'll put a pin in it for right now because Scroll's starting to get something in the kill department. But it's Direwolves together around after very long. Though we welcome that with open arms as we do start to move into the pre-phase of the last round of this half. And I mean, if you're Mindfreak, you're absolutely laughing with the scoreline right now. If you're Direwolves, you're probably posing a plan together to try and figure out the pistol strategy on your next attacking side that you'll be moving over on towards. And I guess the focus that they need to really pinpoint in towards is to try to bring this back into a winnable situation. Excuse me. Or maybe just a comfortable situation, you know, if they can gather a few rounds here and there, make sure they can carry that over into the next map.
Lou going for the pick down long again, but the recon bolt will give away his information. Just has to cruise on out of there. Again, I do feel like they've... that's one thing that I can really leave as a positive for Mindfreak in the sense that they have had an answer for Lou. You know, typically one of those members that does have a massive amount of impact for Direwolves, and he really hasn't been allowed to do any of that right now. So just the blades for Lakers. Ready to start walking up towards long again in just a second. But that's a good TP into heaven. Might be able to catch off some of these rotates. Watt's just going to chill for the time being. Will he be spotted? The recon bolt's about to come in as well. Do they find him? Raph, spot to get it, but great pick there from Watt. He's got the paranoia as well, but Payne should be able to find him. Good trade, but now they're heading over towards this A site, and 45 seconds remaining. I think they might have potentially made the wrong decision here, because all the members of Direwolves are already over at this site.
We've seen those over rotations come out from the Direwolves before as well. So now that they do see that TP, or the rocket, sorry, come out from Burns here, they do use the TP for one. That rotation's going to come back over towards the B site. The operator can't get the job done. Lakers is now lurking over at the A side. A bit of a weird round, a bit of a unexpected one. Oh dear, that should have not have happened there, Lakers. And you eventually get the kill in a kind of muffled location. All right, that's a duel that's won in the end. 3 versus 3 situation. Both neural thefts available. Not ready to find a corpse, however. On that defuse is where Direwolves do need to go right now. The Cloudburst is going to help Pex for a little second, but now looking for a little bit of the punishment through the wall. Lakers and Norton gather some kills. It's all down to Lou. They've seen him at long in the garden, but it looks like these hedges are going to get trimmed right now for Lou. He is lurking. He sees the gun barrel as well, and he catches the headshot. The defuse is not halved, I don't think. No, it's not. He has to draw out where Pex is, and he's out of ammo as well for the frag. That is a halftime scoreline of 8. The difference in double digits is what Mindfreak have found.
Well done. Very, very well done indeed, Mindfreak. They find themselves into a good position here. Only 3 more rounds needed. Of course, if they do pick up that pistol, it should be relatively easy to roll over. With that being said, though, it's no one really in particular that's sort of falling behind again for the Direwolves. It's just been Mindfreak really, really clean. Bernski always slots in nicely to this roster when he is required. Plenty of time still, though, to get the job done. If Direwolves do start off on the right foot, they can bring this back. Game's not done. And even if it is, still there is 2 more maps to go for them to work with, of course. That is going to be Ascent in the next one. And then if it does come down to it, we will move over to Haven, the 3-site map, as usual, which we did see, of course. If anyone didn't catch the earlier games, was a 2-1 in favor of Straight Out of the Zoo. He was able to pick up Haven and Icebox after Wildcard did get the 13-5 on Ascent.
Wow. Stark difference. We would have thought that the first one was a quick one, and this one would be the close one. But for now, it's kind of the alternative. But in this pistol, I did mention it before, Direwolves really need to be placing themselves this round here. I'm actually seeing that one of the Direwolves members is already on the A site, unless I'm mistaken, in which, yeah, Jun's already managed to sleuth his way in. You've got Lakers kind of lurking outside the teleporter. This is just a really strange round.
This skin is throwing me off so hard. Oh, it's paining me. But that's okay. Doesn't matter. Because Lakers and Lou have had a little bit of a kiss and a cuddle just outside the teleporter. Hold my hand outside the teleporter, friend. As they do now get the spike down on A. That will be done by Wrath. Now with these smoke covers down, they'll have to start to move their way out. 2 members about to head out of Heaven. Scroll. Let's get the recon bolt down. Nothing yet to be spotted on the top of the box. They are playing a nice post lane here. 2 members inside the U-Haul position. That's a great shock dart to come through as well. And the paint shells is going to be enough to take down Wildflower at the exact same time. The molly. Wildflower's getting in and aggressive, and it's going to be a very, very challenging round to defend now. Wildflower looking to pick up another, but Payne is able to find Norson. Jun's able to find Wildflower, though. That's the 3rd. Scroll to deny. And that should be enough time on the defuse. Mind Freak to find 11.
Did he catch that through the cage there? Because he spotted him out after the jewel was already there. Either way it is, Scroll manages to find the lasting kill. Mind Freak do get the pistol round out. Again, I mentioned it. It's a bit of a weird one, right? Because you had Jun that pushed all the way through toward the A site, towards essentially defender spawn, cleared it, made the call that the stack and rotation had been made over to that B site. But then you've got Lakers lurking around outside of the teleporter that takes out that jewel that wins it, gets out the trade in the end as well. So he's only good for 1. And then eventually the spike is able to be planted. But then it's just a kind of kerfuffle of all sorts. A really good clearing out from Mind Freak, though, of U-Haul lamps. The paint shells coupled with 2 shock darts deep and close, making sure that no one survives, essentially. That is really, really well-placed utility there. And now they've pretty much set themselves up to try and gather this round. You see an essential needed round for Direwolves here on the back of their sheriffs and everything, because they have purchased up here. They finally get a frag in toward the round. It's instantly traded on through. They're going into the potential last round of this one with the bare minimum, you know, to get stuff done. I mean, we have seen 2 versus 4s before, but it is definitely going to be difficult.
1 enemy remaining. Spike down.
Relatively clean again. All onto Jun. Starting to head over. Does have a little while away to go to collect the spike. Surprisingly, they've actually left it. You've got Wildflower banging his way through spawn. Nothing will be spotted out. Surely they've got sound information there, but yeah, everyone's actually teleported away. Left the spike. A little bit confusing for Mind Freak, but I guess they're just so far ahead right now. They're just kind of happy to try and find the frags, but it will be Wildflower picking up his 3rd. Heck's looking good. So yeah, only 1 more round needed for Mind Freak to take down the Direwolves in this first map. Wildflower 20-5 right now. The newest edition is playing kind of sharp.
No, you're certainly correct in that regard, but that's what you want, isn't it? You want your duelists to be able to open up those frags and find the rounds in that marking. And Pex has kind of just been allowed to go lurk about, right? He's allowed to run through. He's really confident in his aim to back it up. We've seen time and time again that he's had a couple of his teammates look over at the other angles as well. And for everything that it is, right? You know, duelists getting frags is amazing. Now that they've double peeked over toward Tuka, they've done it again, right? It's not that they're just going in to shoot. They're going with gusto, with strategy, and it's completely working and just upsetting Direwolves.
Very nicely done there from Watt, pushing through at the right time when the Aldrone did come out. Wrath is able to find Norson. Now Lou walking inside that U-Haul position. Should be able to find the spike plan in just a second, but Lakers is already finding his way in. Has actually managed to get one, dashing away. Bit of movement. That's all onto Lou inside U-Haul. They know exactly where he is. And this should be the game just about done. I would like to see Lou pull this one off. Does find two. Has the dash now available. Shock Dart does come through. If he can isolate these two 1v1s and find the shots. But he's got so many different angles that he needs to clear here. Dion does pick up the Spectre, but...
And the spike. It is down over in the...
Oh my god!
All right, if he gets this 1 versus 1 on 1 HP, I don't know what I'm going to do. But he's gotten 3 so far, looking for the 4th, and there it is. Oh, dear. Look, he's brought it extremely close, as close as he could have gotten at the end of that one there. But... yeah, a 13-2 victory for Mindfreak in the end on their own map pick of a choice. We do go over into Ascent, which was the pick of the Direwolves after this, essentially. And it does feel like we just need to see a bit more substance from the Direwolves in the next map. You know, Mindfreak, they were just making sure, as we've said it, checking everything that they needed to. The different changes of paces with their pushings up, their slow-paced nature approach over to B, and then lurking over towards A. We saw a lot of the lurk potential coming through in that game, actually. And just a very strategically heavy inducing game on the slow pace. I think that's how you really just sum that game up.
No, exactly. It is, definitely one of those things where I feel like Direwolves just wasn't sort of playing into their own comfort zone. I don't know. It seemed like they were a little bit, they were lacking confidence to sort of take control of those areas of the map. I felt like Mindfreak did very well to play around Lou. Usually on that jet, he's very versatile, able to take a lot of control, especially with the operator, but it just wasn't really happening. So not really a whole lot to analyze there. Mindfreak didn't do anything out of the ordinary. They just did this thing that was working every single round, which was play slow, take sight, chill off, play post plant. That's it. Lakers go dash in somewhere. And that was about it. So not really a whole lot to talk about. I just hope for a better game in the next one. Again, hopefully we do have Yakuza back. I think he's updated the client now, and that should mean a much better one as we do move on to, obviously, Direwolves' pick of Ascent. They are a very, very good team on that map, especially with their lineup. So let's see what is coming for us around the corner.
And Pex as well, not to mention they're leading out that scoreboard in the end with all of the shots to come on through. Hopefully we'll see Mindfreak carry that over into the next map, but more hopefully so that we do see, as you mentioned it there, Direwolves to bring some more oomph in towards the next one to potentially send us into that third and final one that will be Haven if we do get there. But guys, we'll look to bring it a little bit more back when we go around the corner from this break. So about 5 minutes and then we will be back. So stay tuned.
I just time traveled. Today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi. Wow. Which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya. Oh, it's still in the garage. Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.
A huge scoreline difference in map number 1 and a statement made here by Mindfreak tonight so far. But the Direwolves looking to chase it back for map number 2 in their own choosing. Everybody, welcome back to the VALORANT Oceania Tour for 2021. Looking towards the tail end of the night is myself, Dion Komodo-Prada, and Mitch Conky Concannon. Also, technically, in New Zealand, it's no longer your birthday, but here it still is. So it's like...
Well, it's only 7:30 for me here, but I'm extremely tired for a Friday night, but that's okay. It has actually been a lot of fun tonight. Obviously first series, we got to see a really, really close one between, of course, Straight Out of the Zoo and Wildcard, and now it's been the complete opposite right now. But with that being said, that doesn't mean it's going to continue that way, because we do obviously have the map pick of Direwolves coming up. Again, we all know how good of a team Direwolves can be when they're feeling it. Do have some consistency issues here and there, but now they've got the full roster jumping into the server, their map pick, and hopefully they've got something in store for Mindfreak here to at least bring it to map number 3, get it a bit spicy. I did say that I had a feeling whoever won that first map was going to take it 2-0. So if my brain is still going the same way, it's going to be Mindfreak. But again, with that being said, I do want Direwolves to turn it around and take us to map 3.
It feels weird tonight because we've just had like a global work of spanners thrown into the mix, right? With the upset between the Wildcard Gaming matchup, and now we've had just a big difference in scoreline for the first one there between Mindfreak and Direwolves. So hopefully this one does follow in pursuit and we'll get thrown into that third map, because as I put in the prediction, I know we expected this one to be a really close one. We expected this one to go all the way in both of the maps as well, but we're bringing it into Ascent. Maybe it is just a case of, you know, a little bit of the coldness in that first one for the Direwolves, and they've gone back to that drawing board and said, hey, all right, things didn't really happen like just then. Let's just throw it under the bus and bring it into our map pack and Ascent, send it over into the final one in Haven.
Cool. Let's rock and roll. Ready to go. And that's what I want. I just want a good, close game. Ascent is a great map. We obviously saw, again, Wildcard, you know, really dominate on that one. But yeah, look, it's very, very versatile. We should see a different agent selection to what obviously we saw in the previous map of Bind. You know, you're not going to usually see the Rays and that kind of thing on a map like Ascent. But then again, anything can happen. We do move into this one. Of course, guys, for anyone who is just joining, it is the Direwolves up against Mindfreak. We are going into the map of Ascent. Once again, this is Direwolves map selection for the VALORANT Oceania Tour 2021. These teams are now not only facing off against for prize money, they're also looking to take those 2 spots to the NA last chance qualifiers to try and compete against the best of the best around the world. Bring it in, Dion.
And just looking at it right now in this agent selection as well, come to what we expect. It is going to be that mirror match to be seen. The Sova, the Killjoy, the Jet, the Reyna, and the Omen. It's kind of cool to see that the Reyna is still being played as well with the recent nerf that did come in towards her kit. Especially in Ascent, you know, it's really the only map that people do favor her. It's likewise of essentially a Viper pick coming in towards your icebox. And I guess also Viper once upon a time was technically brought out on towards Split. We've seen Split kind of change time and time again. Now the Sage is kind of back in towards the meta as well. So the ever-shifting tides that still do flow over, but there's still the old occurrences of those picks as well, which is always welcoming.
Okay, so relative... Oh, yep, no, exact mirror. Never mind. My eyes aren't deceiving me there. Yakuza on the Reyna. Love to see it. Same with Wildflower, of course. But yeah, something we're all used to. That's exactly what I sort of meant going into this map for me. It's something that I've seen before, and I assume we'll definitely be seeing again. Obviously, the same couldn't be said for the previous map, so that's what we're looking forward to. But, you know, should be some more exciting games tomorrow as well. It won't be you or me, Dion, tomorrow. We've got some other things that we need to get around. I'll certainly be drinking some wine, and you'll probably be doing some other things of similar caliber. But Pilski and Digital QF will be your hosts for tomorrow. But running onto the A site will be the Direwolves, and they're looking to get that spike plant down very quickly.
Yeah, very quick in towards this site in a 5 versus 5 retake. Let's see if Mindfreak are going to be able to go in for the retake, or if the Direwolves are going to be able to hold it off. For now, Wildflower does dispatch of his counterpart, Reyna, in Yakuza. Still does have Elias to be able to throw in toward it as well. It's going to go up nice and early. The dark covers are going to be down. A great usage of the Paranoia, but nobody really peeking on the back of it. You got the flank to be held by Jun. Gets the right click out onto Watt as well. Warfrang starting to come out a little bit. The jump on down 2 playing in hell right now. They expect the next one. They do. It's all going to be down to the last player playing in main. Nano Swarms on the spike. They aren't right now as Wildfire finds Jun. And Defuse comes through for Mindfreak.
Well done. Got it done. Mindfreak, very, very clean retake. Direwolves, despite taking that site, unfortunately weren't able to connect or secure the round. They obviously did have the spike planted. A little bit of extra capital in the bank account, but it is going to be Mindfreak, buying in fully once more. Lakers, of course, with the famed Judge. Nawson's happy to sit with the Bulldog, but the remainder on the Spectre. Very usual buy to see in the, sort of common second round purchases. XX, never mind what's gone for the Ares instead. But Side of Direwolves, sometimes we'll see a Force come out, but they are just going to go for the classic eco here. See what they can do and go full throttle into the third round.
Full throttle indeed. Stick that foot on the gas and just absolutely run it on through. That's exactly what the Direwolves are starting to do, actually, over towards this A short location. Nobody from Mindfreak has established any pressure here. You've already got Lakers holding close over towards A, which once upon a time, we've seen that sensational Jet ace with the Judge. 2 bullets, 5 kills. Oh, not as good this time, but actually, I lied. Yes. There's 4. Gets stolen in the end. I jinxed it. It's not the ace, though. So, not Reddit.
Close enough. That clip was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
So funny. Tony just didn't even have any words for it. It's just kind of like...
Well, it's over so quick.
Ah, yes. That happened. That is VALORANT for you, right? It's can be a little slow to start, but then, you know, super punchy, super exciting. Swear to God, when I first started casting this game, I just didn't even know what to say. Having to know all the ability names and be able to say it like coherently whilst everything's happening on like a retake or something. It's crazy.
I think one of the funniest things for me casting with you for so long is your adaptability into the bonus round. How it was the thing that caught you off guard for so long.
It's like,
what was a bonus round?
We won the round, let's save. No, idiot. Win the round. Bye. Oh, it happens. Look, I understand like the mentality behind it, and I don't mind say you win pistol, you win the second round, then you play bonus. That's fine. That makes sense. But it's more just like if you win a round that's like mid-game and then you save, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the Direwolves are the team that's trying to win a game, or a round mid-game rather. Mindfreak 2-0 with the weapons on the board carried over from the previous one. The ground control for the Direwolves as well, you know, up through mid so far, starting to extend on out. Scroll does manage to find the opener, however, you already do have that Sova taken down relatively low now. Jun's going to be pushing into the clutches of Lakers on the Judge, but he does get his head absolutely taken off. 30 seconds to go. There is a little bit of rumblings over towards A in the pressure of the Jet, but we know the spike is going over towards B.
30 seconds left.
30 seconds. Direwolves need to get a little bit of a wriggle on, and they are going to be walking into the crosshairs of Wildflower. So they are going to clear the line, but Jun has actually managed to find it. Well used E to get out of there. Nicely done. Ratho, great blind in as well, but Wildflower somehow actually manages to find it. Does manage to get into Boat Shed as well, and that is a plan that needs to come out from Lou. All they need to do is just wait. All he needs to do is wait. That's fantastically timed, but he gets aggressive, Norson. Whoa, getting a little bit stressful there. Hot under the collar, but Norson defends, finds his third round. For Mindfreak, they win the bonus. And unfortunately, Direwolves on the back foot again.
I do like Lou's attempt at the end there to use the tailwind to get really up close and personal towards Norton, just to try and get that frag to clutch out the round in the heated moments around the B site. But at the end of the day, Direwolves, they did take too long to get back in towards that site to start their movement. Bonus is won by Mindfreak, and Norton even catches that frag after the timer does go down. So it is just these sheriffs to be seen over on the side of Direwolves. We'll see if the Cowboys are going to be able to yeehaw some frags in.
Indeed. So walking up short, pretty happy to do so. He's just going to be Lakers playing up nice and close and personal once more with the Judge again. Has Watt waiting patiently for him. That's what I mean, like, you know, Mindfreak today has just been playing some, you know, very sort of staple Valorant. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, but you can tell they're quite well drilled. What does have to fall away. We'll be able to get the spike plant here, which is well afforded. There's a great opening shot there, but Wildflower swinging around. Reyna on the Phantom. It's going to be able to destroy the door as well. It's going to be a tough hold from Direwolves here, but a 4v4 nonetheless. Yakuza goes down to what? Now 3-on-4.
That was maybe the kill that needed to be converted in towards Direwolves' favor, just to catch the information, to catch the frag, to turn it into some sort of workable scenario. They now can't utilize any nanoswarms that would have been placed on the spike. They don't have the shot dance for pain. Lou now gets taken out as well. 4 alive for Mindfreak. In a round where it was just those Jarrahs from Direwolves, so I guess on paper expected that Mindfreak were going to be able to claim that out. They only dropped 1 player as well. Now has Bladestorm available in the next round or the one after, whenever they do want to deploy it. But we do know there's going to be another purchase to come through from the Direwolves in the next one, who themselves have the Bladestorm available. And from the Shadows, we touch upon the ultimate department. Jun's 1 away, Yakuza's 1 away, a couple more for Pain. Flip side, you've got Scroll 1 away, 2 for Watt, and 3 there for Norson. So we're starting to get close. We could see a little bit of the ultimate orb simulation farming start to come through as well. But I think the really big thing, and this has been the overarching statement of this series so far, is that Direwolves need to find frags to convert into the rounds.
Get out of my way.
So Lou is going to pick up that Bladestorm nice and early. Yakuza destroying the recon bot. So looks like once again the Wolves will start to make their way over towards A. Lou, great bit of control up onto the top of the generator as well. Watt's just going to spray through that dark cover, see if he can find anything. But Lou, oh, he's taken a big risk and he's punished for it. Scroll's going to be able to find him, and despite Wrath being able to afford himself with that plant again, it's already Wildflower on this flank. Should be able to find one into Jun, and that is the Old Hunter's Fury to come out as well. So this should be another, what looks to be a clean retake for Mindfreak. Yakuza, though, still alive, is going to be able to clear around the generators. Great start here. Does have the Empress available, as you mentioned, but it's a 1 versus 4. Not going to happen today. And Mindfreak with a near-on perfect retake onto this side of 8. They'll find the 5th round.
Yeah, really good kills to come out from Mindfreak and all the crossfires. Just, I mean, again, you know, Direwolves, they had the right idea to just bust in with the numbers, but then the utility starting to come on through. The Hunter's Fury clearing a lot of the angles, opening up the lines for Mindfreak to be able to roll on through. The biggest thing there as well, Pex on these flanks is really superior, and it's always the changing of the flank that is starting to come through from Mindfreak. We've seen Pex just the flank there. We saw him play up towards the heaven in the previous one as well. Getting those kills, dismissing away, or overhealing if he feels safe. He's just really sharp tonight in finding the kills, of course, before Direwolves are beginning to do so themselves, and they're just running with that. And on the get-go, the dark cover's down, but Lakers finds Yakuza, and there's no way to revive him, of course. Now Norson finds Lou. This is a purchase to come through from Direwolves, remember?
Yeah, the opening pick from Lakers, and then to collect another. It's just getting a little bit rough for Direwolves, and you know, we were hoping that Yakuza was sort of going to bring them back in, but it's just really been struggle street. Look, in their defense, it is the offense that they're on right now. You know, they've still got the opportunity to take it back to the defensive side and, you know, hopefully be able to keep Mindfreak at bay. But, you know, the main thing is that's interesting to me about this map selection is Mindfreak was able to take down God Squad on this very map the other day. The old famous Pug Star meme coming in.
Run it down mid, run through the smokes.
That's it.
Yeah, sometimes it works. It's all fun. 40 seconds. Again, Direwolves, they lost 2 opening picks. The Paranoia does get Lakers, but he finds that first pick. No trade to come out. Well, one trade to come out, rather. What is Body's time to just fall on back? He knows that he can be very comfortable in his team in the retake. It's an interesting deployment now from Direwolves as well to push up, see if they can get the frag and put it in towards their favorable stance. What manages to find Jun? That might be the saving grace for Mindfreak again to hold on to the clutches of the flawless nature in the scoreboard. Now that recon bolt's going to go out. It's going to get a tag onto Wrath here unless he can duck behind the box, which he does manage to do. But to segregate himself against 3 different duels can't quite work out. A little bit too much of a mantle. That's 6 unanswered rounds now. Mindfreak are definitely running away with this for now.
Nice attempt from Wrath, at least be able to find the spike plant. You know, he did well there to isolate and find a couple of picks, but, you know, Mindfreak again, it's 6 rounds, and this is what I'm just super really taken back by. Like, I don't know. I had a feeling when we went into the first map, but, like, again, I didn't expect this. You know, I know Mindfreak are a very, like, hard-working team, I guess you could say. They're probably a bit firmer on the prac side than Direwolves are, but that doesn't mean they're, like, worlds ahead. You know, this is what I expected to be the close map of the night, the exciting map of the night. Direwolves are usually that explosive and very, very, you know, solid team. But right now, Mindfreak, again, they're not doing anything crazy. They're not doing anything super explosive. They're just playing defaults, really.
Well, that's it sometimes, isn't it? The defaults can get the better of you because whilst you sometimes know how things are going to turn out, if they turned out flawlessly, then you can't really do anything against them. Even Yakuza are just there peeking through that smoke. He does get revealed. Jun getting tagged out by the alarm bot. Just things that usually you wouldn't really see happen kind of do right now. It's looking a little bit awkward for them. They've already lost 1 player in the mix, but 4 versus 5, definitely a recoverable scenario, that is for sure. Lou peeking on through mid, but the tag up in towards Scroll. Very difficult to control the Odin at that distance, but we'll see if he can pepper some bullets through the wall now. As Direwolves do start to navigate themselves over towards this B site for a bit of a crunch. You do have nano swarms and turrets there, and you've also got Pex, who's lurking on the sides.
So, an opportunity, a time, but as you mentioned, Wildflower is there, there's one. Not quite able to find his way around. Good ultimate use from Norson, though. So they're able to survive on that one, trying to use the shock dart to at least get the control. The main thing is that the spike is down. They should be able to collect it together, but they're waiting. Pain, seeing if there's going to be any aggression, because the scary part is, oh no, they've got enough time to get to A now. It was looking a little bit dicey, though. They certainly are going to be letting it go down to the absolute wire. Plant will be found in just a second by Jun, but needs to play it wise. It is going to be planted on the opposing side of the generator to be able to get into A long. So this is an opportunity for Direwolves to start their rotation back and get the game under control.
So I've seen the Nano Swarm placed on toward the spike. Jun now finds Norson. It's all on the back of what? And they have the Hunter's Fury. There should be no way that the Direwolves are able to claim this one out. The Nano's been hurt. It's been popped. That buys time. Hunter's Fury is popped very early for my liking, actually. You can't stick through that Nano Swarm. You can technically halfway through if you've got the spike halfway defused, then you can stick it and you can tank the 150 from it. But now, oh, this is going to be a Hail Mary shock dart. This has to land. Crash, can we follow it? Oh, he's got it.
Well done. There we go. That is the round back on the board. The opportunity has presented itself to the Direwolves, and they have taken it happily back. This could be the start of something good for the Wolves, as hopefully they will be shouting out in the next couple of rounds as well.
Hopefully, man. It's one round on the board from that 5 versus 4 scenario that they had that player deficit from. I said they could come back from it. I like the disconnection when they just left the B site and realizing they could run over, get the plant down. They had some ults to be able to play with to make things more tricky for Mindfreak. And as I said, that flank player was already low in Norson there. They find him, and then they just use their utility kits. At the cost of an ultimate, yes, but they get the round in the end, and that's the one thing that they needed. Give them a sense of that they are in this game. They're capable of winning things. And now they've got to try and back it up with a couple more rounds in a row. Outdrone in towards the site to clear it. Norson's the only one seen. I don't think Tex did get seen, but Leah does go out. Has to get straight. Great usage of the paranoia. Coupled by the dart. Lou's already into the site.
That's what we want to see.
Night for Norson.
That is exactly what we want to see. The aggression coming out from the Direwolves. They went quick. They went aggressive. Great utility usage to put Norson into a very uncomfortable situation. And now the spike is being planted. This is the time where they can start to work towards resetting that Mindfreak economy.
Yeah. Ult again on that lockdown for the Direwolves. Good reveal of the dart. How do you get into this if you are Mindfreak? I think you just save it, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They've seen no heads up from the Direwolves. They're just going to let them have this one.
Fair enough, though, right? Certainly a bit of a contest there. Putting him into an awkward situation. So finally a clean round from Direwolves. They're going to be able to stack up that economy nicely off the back of that too. So as we spoke about, this is the start of something potentially beautiful for the Direwolves, which can bring them back into this series. Because again, you know, to end off the night, like you never want to see a 2-0 of that level.
The money is still going to be here for Mindfreak right now to be able to get another purchase out. And of course, they did save over that operator from the previous round. So that's going to still be here. No ultimates that are in the relative vicinity, however. So it's just going to be down to the normal standard kits, the rifle ability to come out from all of these guys as well. And I think in a round such as this, right, Direwolves have just run in towards the B site. They've made it work. It looks like off the get-go they want to do that again, and you can see the different approach that Mindfreak are going for as well. The passive play from Norson, the aggression up through mid to just lock them down and choke them in towards the B site. They know that if they see the lockdown in B, probably going to end up there, and there it is. That's the info now for Mindfreak. How do they play the retake?
So Lou up nice and aggressive towards that market position. Very nice frag to be found. And now he does try to get nice and controlled towards CT. Let's head back towards the site. Scroll's going to be joining them shortly as well. Norson needs to try and find his way back into this here. Great use of the paranoia to keep him sort of occupied. Another frag found by Payne as well. He's done super well in these last couple of rounds. Norson does answer, but there's Lou to find another and a third. This is the Direwolves that we know and love, and they pick up their third round here. Starting to put the pressure onto Mindfreak, because if they keep this momentum up and take it to the defensive side, that's where it can start to get scary for the Blue Boys.
Full house between Lou and Payne, finally top decking something that they do need to get their cards in order. And it was back in towards B with aggression, with haste. It worked for them once, it worked for them twice. Third time, usually they say is the charm. Maybe not for now, because Mindfreak could be expecting that, or rather, they did expect it again then. You saw with where the Nano Swarm was placed out by Norson in the passive nature, that they expected that push in through B. It just couldn't quite get done in the holding in that retake. So very, very well placed out there from the Direwolves. And now we transition a little bit differently over towards the A side. Dark cover to keep it bay. Lou's doing the standard sort of jet play in towards the side. Drops in Jenny.
Wildflower
is expecting that. Doubles down as well. Gets a little bit of extra health. What's here to find Wrath? And this is absolutely falling apart for the Direwolves.
Very, very clean there on the defense from Wildflower and Watt. able to support each other as a team there. The turret will go down. Jun does find one. He is on the opposing side. Nawson's going to be able to close it onto Pain. And Mindfreak take that momentum back. Direwolves still do have 3 in their back pocket, which is certainly nothing to poke fun at. And yeah, Mindfreak at least able to sort of get their way back. Look at the money though. Still good. Still good on the side of Direwolves. They should be sitting pretty for the rest of the half, it does seem. But we're at round number 10. Only 2 more to go. Or round number 11, rather. Before the half does swap over.
I wonder what the plan of attack for the Direwolves is going to be here. Again, Mindfreak very fluid in changing it for themselves. It's got 4 over towards the B site and 1 over towards A now. Scroll is just going to pepper the bullets absolutely through the bricks. Not going to catch any damage, however, as Direwolves are starting to take it slow. There's that damage. Yakuza is very not happy with the outcome of that one.
It's frustrating. I'm sure we've all experienced it in matchmaking. When you see a Sova Odin coming around on that B site, especially on this map, of course, of Ascent. Paper-thin walls in Valorant can be taken advantage of, especially with that Sova kit. So just waiting again. Direwolves, seeing if there will be any aggression thrown towards them towards B again. But they're pretty happy to sort of just wait patiently, Mindfreak. Don't need to over-rotate. They've got Wildflower inside market, sending Watt back over towards helping Norson at the A site. Now that Scroll has done some further damage, he might even tag up a little bit more. There's the Aldrone. And there's the Hunter's Fury. That could really put Norson into an awkward situation.
Oh, no.
Lakers does find one. Scroll gets one back as well, though. And now it's getting a little bit uncomfortable for Direwolves. It's only on the Pain. 1 versus 4. Does find one, but then Wildflower will close it out.
Yeah, a little bit dicey there for the Direwolves. You know, they had the attempts to go back in towards the B site again, but it just looks like Mindfreak, you know, they were expecting that there. They stacked up the numbers. They got the peppering through the wall from Scroll already, and then it's just a case of look down at the choke point. They're only coming in through one location. You have somebody for yourself looking over towards market and Pex. You know, he's sensational in this matchup so far. I wouldn't say carried them, but he definitely had the severe impact over on the first map there of Bind. It definitely has carried over into this one as well with the impact he is flourishing on through for. So for Mindfreak to try and gather the 9th one here, but for Direwolves to at least get a 4th, and on the switch up, gather the pistol, gather the second one, find the momentum that you seemingly had a little insight into when you rushed in towards the B site.
So how do they approach now? Need this round. Good opening pick there from Lou onto Watt. He's certainly picked up now. Yakuza, a little bit of damage through into the window. Wildflower will reaggress though on that Reyna. Door will be closed. He might be able to damage it up nice and early though. Still with the man advantage, the Direwolves. There goes the door now. Now going to find their way back into Relax towards Long. Killjoy is still up, and I think, oh no, Wildflower's put him into a bad position. He's going to be going down. No, okay, never mind. Very
there it is
nice
again.
Done, yeah.
I want to break this down just after this one. Jun will get 1. Okay, what we saw from Pilski when Mindfreak played on this map. Norson has a Nano Swarm lineup from the tree room or garden over into Wine. We saw the POV last time that he threw that. He's just done that again after placing the lockdown when it's not destroyed. Because the lockdown doesn't cover all of Wine, he expects players to run there. Right. And he throws that nano. They can't see it. Or if they see it, they try to destroy it. If they destroy it, well, good on them. If they don't, they are dead to rights. They're either dying to the nano or they're trapped by the lockdown. It is a phenomenal single-player strategy where you just need another player to peek in towards main. And that's what Wildflower did. He leers in to just make them paranoid about the Leer, right? It's the target that they have to destroy, and they're not even looking for the Nano Swarm. It's an amazing strategy.
Well, there you go. Broken down famously. Love to see it. Certainly not a pug team, hey? Luke?
No, not by any means.
Good opening damage there. Still going for that usual A-long contest, but the one member in Yakuza being down in towards Wine. Communication spotted up from the Recon Vault in towards mid. But still just a bit of a stalemate at the moment. No real aggression or damage found too much aside from that onto Scroll. Just sort of chilling now, making their way back over towards the B position. It looks like they'll end, but that will be into the utility of course, Jun.
And Jordan's currently preoccupied with mid. He's going to shoulder it on through. Peck's giving up a little bit of the information, but they don't really have anyone actually over on the B side able to lock it down. Shots again coming out from Pex, and he's able to find two. A third would be sensational. He shouldn't have been able to get the second one there by all means. The spike is starting to go down, and everybody is occupied on Pex.
No.
He's just buying time at this point off the spike. Yakuza gets the kill, so he does get the affordance of the overheal to put him up to about 150 if he is up at that mark. It is a player advantage for Mindfreak. You do say two of them has been tickled right now. The three in the back of the boathouse and one just at the brick wall. Definitely going to be difficult for Direwolves.
3 versus 4 on this retake. Paranoia to come out. Lakers leaping on in to find Pain. Living up to his namesake there as Yakuza in a 1 versus 4. Great start. Oh, they line up a little bit too, but Lakers with the jumping classic will be there to close it out. Mindfreak winning that pistol. They edge closer to victory here. 7 rounds the difference. It'll be a little bit, yeah, disappointing, I suppose, if Direwolves only end up with 5 rounds in a 2-map series, but it is what it is, I guess. You know, it's not been their night. And I guess the same was said for Wildcard. You know, 2 very interesting results so far tonight. But with that being said, this game is not done. The map is not done. There's still plenty to go. They'll take the eco. They'll wait till the next. Mindfreak should find 11 here, but then Direwolves can start the claw back.
Yeah, well, Lakers on that famous judge again. Looking to bring it on through. He's expected, I guess, to smoke up on top of the generator and dash with a little bit of the clearance. There's the smoke. There's the dash. Standard jet play. Don't drop on down to an enemy. Your teammate is the one who causes devastation around generator. We haven't really seen too much on that front from the Direwolves, who are now forced into a bit of a retake. You got Norson on that very late lurk outside Gelato. Does get dinked down at 21 HP, however. Player advantage now for the Mindfreak squad. What is going to come over and help Norson find time with the Nano Swarm? Lakers is now able to find a little bit of damage. What actually found Jun off in the distance. Lakers now finds Yakuza, really cleaning up in this map right now. Flawless in the round from Mindfreak. Direwolves though here, Mitch. He will have a purchase.
All right. Do or die. Crunch time, I guess we could call it. Man, Wildflower 21-6, bro. Like, how's that allowed? He played really well in the last map too, didn't he?
Yeah, 20 and 9, or was it 23 and 9 or something like that?
Something like that.
I can't quite remember too much. I did mention it a little bit.
Yeah.
Something like that. Big frags.
Yeah, big frags. Salute will be paranoid, sent away from that A-long peak. The Lear's coming up. It looks like the Mindfreak side are pretty keen to get up onto that site nice and early. Pain and Yakuza. Here we go. This is what you want to see from the Direwolves. Extremely crisp and clean. They find their way back into this game, locking down the A site. The Mindfreak guys try to rush it in with their lesser weapons on the bonus rounds, but this time it is unsuccessful. Lakers does not have enough to get his operator, unfortunately, so he will be going for the Vandal. 5 of them, still the 2 Phantoms for Pain and Wrath. This is their opportunity now to start to bring this back.
Most definitely. It is the even Steven Jules, however, in the rifle department. It was a little bit of a weakened slate across the board for Mindfreak in the previous one, but definitely, you know, they have a little taste of the round gathering again for the Direwolves. Now they need to run it in with this one. The darts over towards the long B area, or the B main area rather, I should say. The recon bolt, however, not in towards main, just the shocky. So started off, there's a little bit of the pressure being built up by Mindfreak in mid. You got both sides with the Empresses available, and there we see Pain. He didn't use the recon bolt, right? So he's still got that readily available nice and early on. Only the one shock dart to tickle the damage over on the Mindfreak side. I'm kind of interested to see where this dart's going to go now that that drone is destroyed. So the dart is going to go in through towards mid. The shock dart actually is going to start it off, but Yakuza finds Norson.
Oh, Lakers just like, hey, what? You can take that damage for me, bro. It doesn't matter. Oh, God. All right. So, good opening pick. Norson going down. A very impactful member, of course, of this roster. Lou also doing some great damage. The Empress is popped, though, from Wildflower. Does spot out Lou in that contest towards Market. Yakuza, very aggressive line, but Lakers, what a shot there to take him down. They are still at the man disadvantage, but the utility of Jun is over towards that A site. So B is the access point. They need to get moving, though. 25 seconds left on the clock. Wildflower starting to go for that control. The Empress will fall away soon as well. There we go. Lou finds one onto Scroll, but it is traded. Lakers finds a third.
Oh, no.
He has turned this round on its head.
Lakers
now.
stole
It's a 2-on-2, Dion.
Yeah, but Lakers stole the kill, so it means the Empress is down now for Pex. At least he does still have the Leah and both of the Devour Dismiss cross-angle section available of it. I need like one name for it. The Soul Orb Gathering ability. There you go. 2 versus 2, a little bit of damage that Lakers is seeing, but now that does mean Pex has the line of the angle on where to exactly look. The crossfire is here. It's sensational. There's the first for Lakers and the second one for Wildflower. You really feel for Direwolves in that round. You know, they had the numbers over at the B side. They have the containment in through towards mid, but just some individual play from Lakers tapping out the heads, and now we're seeing elimination point for Direwolves.
Very, very clean round. And what I really appreciated from that situation is despite Mindfreak being in a 3 versus 5 situation, they were still there as a unit, right? You know, Scroll, obviously he did go down, but at least he was there to support Lakers through the B main position. He found 2 great frags, obviously caught Yakuza sleeping, then was able to find what's called Lou on the trade. So yeah, look, again, I am feeling for Mindfreak. They're certainly not feeling good, I suppose. But anyway, it happens sometimes, right? Mindfreak are just looking very, very sharp right now.
Very, very sharp indeed. Scroll clearing a lot of the angles over in towards the site of A. You see this Dart or Drone to come out from Pain as well to try to counteract a little bit of that information gathering. Yeah, minutes to still play with. A couple of ults for Mindfreak. And no Hunter's Fury here available for Pain as well. So we could see a free lockdown.
Lockdown is activated, but they're actually heading over towards that A site. So here is the full rotate. Dark cover even towards CT just to keep them there for good measure. But now they are going to have free access towards this site. Very, very nicely done. Yakuza, he will be the first point of contact here. Does go for a little bit of a warning spray through the door. Will be closed upon him. Lakers, very nice pick onto Pain there. No. But here we go. Bit of movement back in from the Direwolves now, and they're going to start to tap onto the bomb, Dion, but the Hunter's Fury is available.
Oh, and what? He peeked in towards the dark cover as well. Has to destroy the turret a little late, though. From North End, the turret, it doesn't even matter right now. He's found 2 kills. Watt's found it as well. Lou has to get on this defuse. He's trying to pressure them out. He's trying to pull them into the open. There's the one. And he knows where the Hunter's Fury player was as well. He knows he needs to press the issue. I think this is done just by timing, right? It's not half defuse. The dash, though, actually comes in, but I think it's not defusable.
No, he's
right?
got it.
Hang on.
He's got
I don't even know.
Lou has got it.
There you go.
Very well done.
See, this is the thing.
You guys suck.
I need to know the time.
Well, Lou is doing absolute work for his team, clinging to life as it does run on 16-13, sitting atop that scoreboard. But look, I got to give it to Direwolves. That was a very, very nice retake that they did manage to pull through for the start. It was only really Norson from that short position who was able to sort of throw them off, I guess you could say. So very, very nicely done from the Wolves to be able to claw back in. Lou showing his individual prowess as usual. The guy is an incredible player. But now they are moving nice and quick over towards this B position. Lakers is already up. These are going to be looking to close the gate here in just a second. Both those nano swarms are down beyond. Lou, though, again, he's going to be able to find the open frag.
Very angry, very activated right now to find the kills. Jun's going to be able to find Lakers through the dark cover as well. And now it's Lou again for a second. Does get traded on through, but Jun there to find his second of the round as well. Who's going to be able to find the crown in this round? Norson does reveal his location for a 1 versus 4 attempt in through mid. The dart's going to come through as well. Bit of a deep high dart as the door's closed. Remember, Lakers did close that. No, it kind of keeps Norson trapped in towards market. That dart was tickling the 70, and it's going to be Pain to close out the round for Direwolves. Mitch, they start with 4 here. Lou opened up the door for them. Starting to feel a sense of something here for the Direwolves, potentially.
There's a possibility. Always an opportunity. There is, of course, that full regulation time available. Mindfreak do only need to find the 1 more. This time they've respected Direwolves a little bit more. Only going for those 5 sheriffs. Some light shield as well for Lakers and Norson. They will take their time though now. Looking to get aggressive towards A. Will they have the utility? We already know Lou's making his way in, but that's a little bit rough there. Lakers is going to find the opening pick on a Yakuza, and this is not the round that they want to be losing on. But there is 2 members here.
Does Lou not have a sidearm on the back of these blades? It doesn't look like it. It doesn't matter if he's going to be hitting them for pain. To line up 4 of them. There you go. Direwolves again. Another round that they're able to gather on the board. 5 more and we go OT. They've found 3. Well, 4 if you negate the one that's on the flip side. But yeah, starting to see something.
Pressure starts to come in. That was a great lockdown there from Payne. And I think the fact that they had the 3 members there was really, really nice. Obviously, a little bit unfortunate for that first member. I think it was in Yakuza to go down, but good shot from Lakers. But that was it. There was no more to it. So 5 rounds the difference. Direwolves, imagine if they got started a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things that if it does get closed out, you know, that they might have to be very careful of going a little bit further on into the days, just making sure they get something hard set in stone on the beginning of the matches. But for this fresh new round, there is a purchase to come through for Mindfreak. Again, they've managed to get some control of bottom mid. The drone does come out. We've seen Payne lead out these darts here. We've seen Watt actually get sacrificed in toward the dart as well for a little bit of damage thrown under the bus, but there's no damage being seen on the back of the dart this time. It's only mid pressure that is starting to creep up ever so slowly here for Mindfreak.
Mindfreak need to keep their mental composure. If they start to throw that away, that's where Direwolves can really re-entry into this victory. Imagine if it was a game like this where they did drag it to a 3rd map. We see it duke out on Haven. They were able to close it. Certainly would be a huge turn of events, especially after a 13-2 on Bind. We were so close to victory for Mindfreak, but after that big 1v3 clutch from Lou, they start to make their way back in now. Just the 1 member in Yakuza. He has had a bit of a quiet one so far. No damage to come down on the other side of this dark cover, but okay, Wildflower probably didn't mean to get into that dark cover. Clipped on the other side of it. Lakers has already found the site. Spike will go down. Norson does find Lou in the process as well, who's been having a great game so far, but they haven't been able to get the plan. Lakers is giving up this round. What is going on?
Well, it's a player advantage. Make it 2 for the Direwolves now as the Spike is planted. We're not going to be able to see the lockdown go down from Norson. Maybe not even see him get a kill. Trying to eat out the Nano Swarm. He does get it through, but the kills are found out by the Direwolves. It is going to be an 8th round from them now here. And I think, just maybe, you know what that means? Bit of an eco to come through for Mindfreak. They're starting to feel a little bit of the weight of the money situation. Although, looking at it, nope, they're gonna respect it, and they are ecoing. Good.
This is going to overtime, dude. It's going to overtime. I can absolutely feel it. I mean, it's good, right? It's just not what I expected. and that's not what I say, not what I expected before the game. Before the game, I expected this, a close one, especially on Direwolves' map of Ascent. But then the way Bind went, I just kind of, you know, gave up the goat a little bit, and then with that slow start onto Ascent. But now Lou, he's made his way in. He does have Yakuza with him, and they don't know he's there either. Great opening pick there. Still just toying with it. So Norson's going to keep that focus on to Lou. Now they just walk in, but Mindfreak is starting to lose their touch a little bit. Again, only just a sheriff round, but still, they seem to be a little bit lost right now.
TP is going to come out from Watt straight on through. Manages to find Payne. 1 death, make it a 2nd one, and score finds Yakuza. That's an open B site now, where the plant could go down. Just to be very careful, because the timing from Lou is going to get the better of him. Hex is over at A as well on this extreme late flank, and it's also being safeguarded right now by Jun. Manages to get the kill in the end. So another one for the Direwolves. We would expect them on paper to be able to gather that, given there was pistols from Mindfreak. Now that they took the respect into that round, Direwolves were able to find it. It's the 5th one in a row. Money is here for Mindfreak. 5 ultimates are here from them as well. I would say the group up with the lockdown and with the Hunter Fury to counter out the other lockdown.
TP back B, get the lockdown in. You know, maybe make it happen. But no, look on the other side. You know, Direwolves have got the lockdown of Jun to take back the site. But there is a pause to come through. So I'm assuming this is going to be a tactical on the side of Mindfreak. Yes, production has confirmed that that is the case. So 3 rounds the difference. That's all Direwolves need to get their way back into this, which is a very crazy prospect to think about.
You can see here as well, just in the kill disparity right now, Peck's leading out 23 on the top there, Lou 22 to the closest 12 on his team. Really just putting in the hard yards for the team in that kill department. And a lot of those are not just a pick here and there. They are multi-frags coming through. Left, right, and center.
So looking to get on in now. Norson has exactly what we spoke about. That is going to be the ultimate to go down, Lakers. What are they going to try to do this time? It doesn't look like they're trying to pull any form of rotate. They are going to stay away. Nano Swarm is available, nice and close. There's the teleport back site. Now they're going to start to head on in. Maybe they were listening to us, Dion. Running the round as we expected.
The kind of expected play, all things considered. They do manage to get past the nano swarms that were placed as well without really taking too much damage. So now here's where we should see Jun drop his own counter lockdown. The Hunter's Fury would come out as well. Yakuza on the flank has dropped that. The Blades do miss out from Lakers, though. He does manage to find Norson. A little bit lucky in that frame, but at least he does find the headshot. Lakers is going to get peppered down through the smoke as well. Payne just getting out some shots. Now it's down to Wildflower. There's that Hunter's Fury to destroy the lockdown. Pex is still on these stairs. Can't quite get the frag. What? And Scroll to get it done now. They push through into the smoke. Scroll. Everything's happening right now. Scroll and What making a couple of frags, though, but on the defuse is good. He's looking to stick it. There's the headshot to get him off. 1v1. And Scroll gets it in the end. And all it took for Mind Freak was that tactical pause to get the plan situated, to get them over the line in a 1v1 duel at the crux of that closer of the round. What a heated round as well. Everything was happening then.
Absolutely. The second that I saw the Empress pop from Yakuza and being able to find that frag on a Norset inside B main, I was like, look, you know, we're still going the distance. Mind Freak are not going to hold on to this one for much longer, and Direwolves are going to start to bring it back. But Scroll, What, very well done in that 2 versus 4 situation, especially for the desperation play to get, I think it was Jun off the bomb, but very, very well done in the end. Mind Freak, I think they started to really slip. I think the tactical pause was exactly right. You know, perfect time to use it, perfect time to sort of iron out any potential kinks. They played the smart B take rounds. They were able to secure it and using their ultimates effectively to get that victory. 2-0 for Mind Freak.
And that's one of the things that we want to see from them as well on the back of that tactical pause. You know, it's your sort of standard set play in towards your B site with that round. You put down your lockdown, you wait a little bit just to get your smokes through, then you get out that TP and you pincer attack the site from both extremities. They hopped across all of those nano swarms as well to get onto the site. And then it comes down to making sure you have your clean and concise comms, right? In a 5 versus 5 situation as chaotic as that, making sure that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing when those kills come through. We saw how quickly they started to come through at the tail end of that one. And it was, what, a 2 versus 4 or something in the end there for What and Scroll to be able to go through. And the dark cover that was thrown through from their opposition in Direwolves there, that kind of got the better of them, right? Because they lurked around that in the boat shed, and it just works out. The goal, though, for him to peek through that smoke as well to make sure that Jun was off that defuse. Oh, sensational.
Now, very, very well done. I feel like Mind Freak fought hard to earn that one. It was nice to see Direwolves definitely fire up towards the end there. Lou, incredible player, super sharp. Payne was going ham as well. So yeah, look, very well done for Mind Freak. They are going to be your victors for the evening to move on into the matchup tomorrow. They're going to be facing off against Straight Out of the Zoo. Because, Dion, I think we've got some probably updated graphics to run through, don't we? To, have a little bit
we
of a
do.
chat
So
about
the top 8, the way that it's going to be looking here, Mr. Mitchell, over Pal Strike, Kanga, Wildcard, Direwolves, the teams that have been eliminated from this stage so far, all taking home the 30 points to carry on through the remaining stages in this event. Order Fun Crew, Mind Freak, Straight Out of the Zoo are going to be the 4 teams that we will see battling and duking it out tomorrow to get into that grand final slot, or unfortunately to make themselves in towards that lower bronze match slot, where, of course, remember, they are guaranteed at least $1,000 from these teams as well.
Exactly. So by finding that victory, all the remaining members have at least got a chance of 1K, which is certainly not something to make fun of. Of course, that will be very, very nicely sat up against if they do get the chance to obviously also go away to those North American final chance qualifier spots. I cannot wait until we finally get to show the rest of the world what Australia is made of in that regard. AUNZ, you know, the whole region able to get the job done. We are going to see that shortly from the God Squad, but for the other teams who are in this competition, that's what we are absolutely looking for. So again, you know, just to run it through, Order to 2 over Power Strike, Fun Crew took down Kanga 2-1. A very surprising but awesome win from straight out of the zoo against Wildcard 2-1. And then tonight, we did see, of course, Mind Freak 2-0 the Direwolves. So some really exciting games tomorrow. I think Order versus Fun Crew should be a bit of a head turner, I would say. And then obviously Mind Freak against straight out of the zoo. If the Zoo boys were playing as well as they did tonight, I think that Mind Freak might have a little bit of a challenge in store for them. But yeah, obviously it's going to be not us tomorrow. It will be the boys, Pilski and Digital QF from the studio, getting the job done. And I'm really keen to be listening on from my position on the beers.
On the beers, there we have it as well. Of course, as Mitch has just said it, we are going to be taking a little break, which is interesting, right? Because it means that it'll be my first one that I'm actually not going to be situated into across all of the board as well. Out of the 12 broadcasts that'll be on forward, it's the one that I have to take on through. But it is for a good reason in the end. And it gives the audience, you know, a little bit of a spicy, different chance, a different update. And it gives Digital a good chance to get in on the official broadcasts after being able to cover that last chance qualifier that we had the other week as well for straight out of the zoo and over Power Straight to get in as well. So I'm sure that that'll be all well received from him there and for everyone that follows along with Digital there. But of course, guys, that does mean that we are at the dark hours of the night. We are ready to close things up. So thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Again, my name, Dion Komodo Perotta, Mitch Conky Concannon over there, the birthday boy, who it is technically still birthday. So there's stuff to be done for his end.
I'm going to bed, dude. I'm too
well,
old.
There you go. You've heard it from him.
I need sleep from my birthday. That's definitely what I'm going for now.
Well, everybody, without further ado, thank you very much for chilling out with us tonight. And we will be back actually on Sunday as well, something that we actually forgot to mention. So everyone, we'll see you then.
I just time traveled. Today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi. Wow. Which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya.
Oh, it's still in the garage.
Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.